Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Informer Show podcast. I'm your host, Ben Hansen, joined by Imran Khan.
Howdy.
Welcome over Skype. Lovely to have you. Andrew Reiner.
Hello.
And Jeff Cork.
Hi.
2 weeks in a row, right, buddy?
I'm sorry, audience.
You shouldn't be sorry, because we got a hell of a show. It's a fun and it's a funky one, right? Because we have a lot of news stories to cover. Imran's our news editor, that's why we're glad to have him here. So it's going to be kind of a scattershot approach a little bit, but that's only after we talk about Yakuza 6, which came out this week, Cork, which is very exciting. Then we have a bunch of great community emails, and then back half of the show, we're waving goodbye and also waving hello for podcast listeners, I guess technically, to Game Informer's interns Robbie Key, John Bowman, and Joey Thurmond. It is their last week in the office, and they've done a wonderful job through their tenure, switched on a lot of podcast episodes, switching between cameras for the video version. So it's a fun chat with them, talking about what it's like to be in the Game Informer office. You get a couple nice plugs, Jeff Cork. They say you did a great job. So stay tuned for that. For now, it's kind of an exciting week for games, Reiner, right?
Yeah, 2 of the biggest releases of the year so far, according to GameInformer.com.
Yeah, the reviews, right? So God of War is coming out on Friday, which, you know, we might talk about it a little bit throughout the show because I think we're all still very excited about it. Joe finally reviewed it. Official score was a 9.75.
Which is super low.
Super
in my
low
opinion. Yeah.
For God of War, maybe. Like, it is rare that a game hits this hard. Those reviews are insane. Imran, have you looked? I think the Metacritic's still 95?
It's ridiculously high. I think it's like second best rated game of generation so far, like right below Zelda.
It deserves it. The game's awesome.
Yeah. And we're definitely going to dive in deep for the GI Game Club, which is going to kick off next week officially. So next week's Game Club, if you want to join along, play God of War, send in your thoughts, anything you want to podcast@GameInformer.com, your favorite moments, favorite big moments, favorite little moments, little details that you like that are fascinating to you. And we're stopping at when you meet the character Mimir.
Hey, spoiler!
They've already talked about it in pre-release. They've shown plenty of screenshots. There's a character named Mimir. When he comes on the screen, you turn the PlayStation off and you start sending in emails.
Okay.
Jeff Cork, do you have a question?
I did, but you answered it.
Okay, thank God.
I appreciate that.
And then, Yakuza 6.
Yes. Song of Life and Fire. What is this game called?
Song of Life and Fire, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yakuza 6.
Yeah.
Exciting times. This is one that you talked about. I think, Imran, you're even on that episode. We talked about it months ago. Is when we did the Metro cover story reveal. And you were gaga over that game.
It was fun as hell.
Back then. You gave it a 9.25.
Yeah.
And it came out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Leo, I think, also just started it as well. He's welcome to jump in from the booth there. But can you ever convince somebody to play Yakuza 6 over God of War if they're looking for a good PlayStation 4 game to play this week?
I think they're both great games.
Okay, that's the lamest answer.
But
All
I mean,
right.
they are.
Just completely different fat sets.
Yeah. They're like, would you like a slice of cherry pie or a steak?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
I would like both.
What is the
So that's
flavor
what I'm
of
gonna
steak?
have.
Like, what is the gaming experience they think Yakuza
Oh, what
offers?
flavor of steak? That's a very smart question.
We get that a lot at the God of War's the pie?
Yes, of course God of
It's
War is the
interchangeable.
pie.
What flavor of steak is?
Yeah, do I need to repeat the question?
It's a cow.
Okay.
Yeah, delicious cow.
What type of people would be attracted to Yakuza 6, do you feel like?
Okay, people who like fun.
Video games?
More specifically, people who like having fun. And to Reiner's point, people who like having fun in video games.
Okay. Okay,
You
very
like that?
helpful. I do. Imran, can you help me with this?
Okay, here it is. It gives you shut up, Imran. It gives you like a big, beautiful world to explore. Not big as in like a Breath of the Wild style thing, but big like a beard. And or a couple neighborhoods that are like beautifully recreated. A lot of cool, fun, weird side missions. A story that is interesting, that kind of pushes you ahead. Doesn't get like a little long in the tooth. The cutscenes are very long, but I was engaged the entire time. It's super fun. I like Kiryu a lot as a main character. I think he's fascinating, and yeah, it's just a great game.
Imran, you're a huge fan of the series. Do you feel Yakuza out at all? I know this game's great. I don't want to come in negative, but I feel like everyone's been playing a lot of Yakuza games. You're into them in the last year especially.
Yeah, Sega's been trying to catch up on localization, so that meant that since January 2017, it's been Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, Yakuza 6, and then Kiwami 2 comes out in August.
Yep.
Wow.
So these are all like 60-hour games.
Yeah, they're all very big games.
It's 2 a year. That's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. Yakuza
That's the
universe.
rate.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're not sick of it yet, Imran?
I could feel like I'm getting pretty close, depending on like I'm very excited for Kiwami 2, but I don't know that I'm going to touch it immediately. Honestly, like, this is probably the worst week for them to release Yakuza 6, period, this year.
Yeah. Well, technically, they accidentally released it a couple months ago or whatever on the PlayStation.
The demo.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the demo where they accidentally released the full version.
Well, that was the
there.
weird thing. The game was supposed to come out last month, and then not randomly, I guess, Sega had their business decision, but it came out a month later, and it came out during the only major PlayStation 4 exclusive in the first quarter.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't even think about that insane timing. Leo in the booth, you started playing it last night. What stands out from the first couple hours of the game?
They really did a lot to refine the combat and pare it down a little bit. Instead of all the different styles, you've just got the one main style. And it seems like in my only first few hours playing, it's less about heat bar management, which it was earlier, you know, knowing exactly what you're capable of at the right time. But this one is more building specific moves, like unlocking them in a skill tree and using them in the right situation, parrying attacks instead of doing like heat moves to dodge them.
Huh. Parrying attacks and occasionally still grabbing a bicycle and beating somebody to death.
Always
with it.
grabbing a bicycle.
You guys ever go to a heat bar?
A heat bar? No.
Is that a thing?
But he was talking about it.
Oh, yeah,
I
Leo's
didn't know what the hell he was talking
I
about.
manage a heat
I've
bar
heard of
in my
ice
free
bars,
time.
but not heat bars.
Cork, your reviews on the site, Yakuza 6, 9.25.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on it, God
Don't
of War
sleep on it.
fans. Yeah, you got it. Also, they shouldn't have released it the same week that Nintendo Labo came out. A lot of overlap between those two audiences. I feel like the fans of Japanese quirkiness are going to gravitate towards Labo. But we should point out, we don't have a copy of Nintendo Labo for the Switch in the office yet.
No, not yet.
Yeah, so hopefully next week we can talk about it. I don't know. I think they're going to be coming in at some point soon. That'll be exciting. We do have a copy of Ewok Adventures, though, in the office.
Yeah, we
right,
do.
Ryder?
Star Wars Battlefront's new limited time DLC, where it's stormtroopers taking on Ewoks
At night
in
on
Endor at night
With traps?
with traps. Ewoks blowing horns.
Hang gliding?
No hang gliding. They could fall a great distance without fall damage.
Is
though.
there an emote to look at a fellow Ewok after they've died and look sad?
No.
With your eyes that don't blink
You-
until they CG
you
dead
could probably
decades
make-
later?
You could probably make those sounds though and simulate that experience.
Oh, man.
So, you know, it is kind of like a fun way to maybe try and get people back into Battlefront 2. It's
That's
like,
exactly what they're trying to do.
hey, yeah, it's like, hey, we're going to have fun. There's a wacky thing where you go hunting Ewoks in the woods. Does it live up to that trailer expectation?
No, because like only 2 people start out as Ewoks. So the opening sequence is opening minutes. You're just kind of wandering around trying to find these Ewoks that are like up in the trees. And you can't see anything, by the way. You have a flashlight that's on a timer. So it's just the kind of the cone of light that you're seeing. Right? So you don't have a full view of the forest.
That sounds cool.
It is. It's got kind of a horror feel to it.
Yeah.
But there's just nothing going on. I'm wandering around. I'm like following another guy around, and we're like at the edge of the map. It's like, okay, there's nothing over here. Let's go this way. And then eventually, one of our stormtroopers, it says, is lost to the forest. I don't know if he like went off the map, fell off a log or something.
Return
then-
the game.
What happens then is that stormtrooper turns into an Ewok. So then there's more Ewoks to hunt the stormtroopers. And the goal of this whole thing is to stop the stormtroopers from leaving Endor, which seems like a victory condition for Ewoks. But if a stormtrooper leaves, that's defeat. So
What?
yeah, so you are hunting these stormtroopers, but you don't really have a lot of firepower. You're throwing these little slingshot bombs at them that turn into bugs that will eventually like zap them.
But they go right through a stormtrooper's armor, if we remember anything
Right,
from that
right.
city.
They have little spears. They could drop like rocks on them in those little sacks.
Okay.
Has it charmed you as a huge Star Wars fan?
Eventually, it becomes fun for like the last minute and a half, where there's more Ewoks on the field where you're actually seeing them.
Yeah.
But up until that point, I was just kind of like, "Wow, what is this?"
And it's not tense from what you experienced. Not tense enough.
The opening seconds are where you're like, "Whoa, it's really dark," but then you realize like, there's nothing happening.
Oh god. All right, Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Still maybe not worth.
It's a good
your time,
idea.
Everybody.
It just needs some work.
Yeah.
Well, this is also the day that they're bringing back the cosmetics. Like, you can buy cosmetics now. So this is their first day of the new economic model for it.
Oh
Yeah.
really?
All sorts
Yeah.
of currency still, all that fun.
All your favorites.
Hey,
are
they
still in
said they
that
learned a lesson with Battlefront 2.
Don't
Right?
make Battlefront 2.
game. We have so many news stories to get through, everybody. We needed the help from a certain thing that I like to call the deluxe bingo cage ball. So what we've done here is we have a bingo. What would you call this, Jeff Cork?
I call it bingo cage.
Bingo cage ball. And so what we have is news stories associated with these bingo balls, right? Imran, as a news editor, this is how a lot of news is propagated at Game Informer, correct?
Yes, that's how it's made as well.
Okay, great. All right, so you guys ready for the first news story, not knowing what it's going to be?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. And I hope audio listeners can hear it. And first one's coming down the chute. It says Kyle on the ball, but that's not the relevant part. Leo in the booth, I-16. What is I-16?
I-16, Ghost Recon Splinter Cell crossover.
Did you guys pay attention to this?
Yeah.
I did.
It's very odd. It's cool, for sure. The idea that in Ghost Recon Wildlands, they had a mission over the weekend that launched where it's like, hey, you can meet Sam Fisher. He's now in this world. And the coolest part is, Imran...
He's voiced by Michael Ironside.
There we go. The old actor. They got him back. Yeah, the last game, everyone was outraged that he wasn't in it, and now they got him back. And I'm not a Splinter Cell guy myself, but it's amazing seeing how emotional people are getting about like hearing that voice again. Right? I mean, people are really reacting.
They did that just for a mission. They didn't bring him in for like the 20 lines he has in that Ghost Recon.
So what's your theory here?
I think there's probably a Splinter Cell game down the pike, and like for a 1 week mission in Ghost Recon, I think they probably just had him like, hey, Michael, read these lines. And he was like, oh, okay.
So just happened to be in the studio for a new Splinter Cell game, is your theory?
That is my theory.
I see it the other way. I see it as like, you wouldn't waste that surprise on a Ghost Recon free mission, whatever that thing was.
I'm kind of with you, Reiner.
You would have the big E3 reveal, like, guess who's back? We got this old
again.
actor.
Yeah.
I think this is it. I think it's
think it is too.
There's some love for this guy. Let's bring him back for a mission.
Because they did do that with the Predator too, which is that's an insane thing that they did there with Wildlands as well.
Yeah.
Like,
and they got the original Predator voice actor as well to come in there.
it was a kitten. It rubbed his belly.
Here's my main beef with this. I think it's
What?
fun. I'm happy that Splinter Cell fans get to interact with Sam Fisher in some way again. But Leo in the booth, do you have a clip? So the actual mission, there's like a cutscene with Sam Fisher, and then you get his night vision goggles and stuff. The cool stuff. But the discussion with him, when you actually meet him in the game, it goes something like this, if Leo wants to pipe it in.
Yeah, a few I've heard they don't make them like me anymore. There was this other guy, though. Army infiltration, war, Cadana or something.
I heard he finally retired.
Really?
Yep.
It's only me.
Sam,
Yeah,
you got it.
I do.
Leo, are you live remixing the clip?
That's what I have.
So anyways, they make the reference to Snake in there. It's like, oh, that's fun. That's a cute little thing. But then they go one step beyond where then like the official Twitter account, when it showed Michael Ironside, he looks at the camera and says, kept you waiting, huh? It's like they're using Metal Gear as this weird like way to ramp up enthusiasm among Splinter Cell fans. Like, dive into Splinter Cell in this mission. You don't need to connect it to Metal Gear.
Yeah.
The idea that he would say, so it's only me, and then they wouldn't do a Splinter Cell, and he'd just go off and be done.
Right.
I'm the only one left, and I'm gone too. Bye. I find that impossible to
I
believe.
need somewhere to sit down. That's what he sounds very old. Let's be honest. Like, we all get older, and that certainly beats the alternative. But I think that it's a final send off for Michael Ironside. I don't know that I need to hear a really, really elderly person voicing a hero who's moving around at a decent clip, because it like suspends plausibility.
Yeah, they probably pitched up his voice a little bit as well.
I would love
the
a new
idea
Splinter
that,
Cell.
Yeah.
That Solid Snake is canon in Splinter Cell's universe.
Right.
Just all this like stuff is going on. Like there's the Guns of Patriots things happening while Sam Fisher just like sitting in a cabin drinking.
Or maybe you just got one report about the alternate universe where Metal Gear exists. Like, it's all very confusing because Metal Gear survives lore. No one can keep track of that world anymore.
And again, the Predator lives in this world as well. Like, that's just a thing that happened.
Maybe makes 3.
Yeah.
Reiner, what would you want from a new Splinter Cell?
Just a kick-ass classic single-player campaign.
Can I interest
No
you?
games as service stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How about a big open world?
Oh no.
A bunch of icons on the map. Gotta
Please
go.
accept it. All right, next news story.
But
Here
it's
we
really
go.
dark.
Yeah,
The whole
exactly.
time, and you get to use
Love
your
it.
night vision.
Flashlight.
Leo in the booth. What story is B4?
B4, new BioShock in development.
Oh, this is from Kotaku. Jason Schreier wrote a story about Mafia 3, like that team, and how they're struggling to ramp up with their new project. And as a detail in that story, it says, hey, right next door, we're working on a new BioShock. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled and it goes through. Imran, what would you want from a new BioShock? Ken Levine-less BioShock is a bold thing that I think people are having a tough time with.
I honestly don't know, because like I remember when BioShock 2 came out and I was like, this doesn't feel right. But over time I actually kind of came to like that game.
Yeah.
But honestly, the spirit of BioShock is Ken Levine's writing. So what do you do with one of those games? What is the through line through all 3 BioShock games at this point?
It is, hey, there's a place where we had bold ideas and then it crumbled down because of humanity. What are you going to do? It's a little Far Cry-ish, right? Where it's like, all right, some remote place where somebody has some highfalutin ideas and then everything goes to hell. I mean, can they do a new one, Cork? Do you want them to do a new one?
I wasn't super hot on Infinite, so
Really?
honestly,
Wow.
I know it was a good game, but I'm not like it's like my top 50 games of all time or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're good games for what they were. I'm not pining for more BioShock at any point.
But you don't treat it as like a sacred thing, like it's untouchable without Ken Levine. Because I think that's where a lot of fans are coming from.
Oh, I guess I don't really have a strong opinion on that, which is good for a podcast.
Yeah.
I could come up with one really quick. No, I do like it.
Reiner, if you had 2 buttons, one said, let them make a new BioShock without Ken Levine, or never make another BioShock, which would you hit?
Let them make it.
Let them make it.
I'd like to see a classically designed single-player campaign.
There we go. Okay.
No, I think, when BioShock 2 was made, Ken Levine was still kind of there overseeing things, and I think that might have strapped it a little creatively, knowing where maybe he was going next, and they had a limited resources to pull from, so they kind of revisited the same kind of stuff.
That's it. Yeah, we talked to Jordan Thomas not too long ago on the podcast. It's just a matter of we have to crank this sucker out. You need to reuse those art assets. You need multiplayer. We gotta go.
Yeah, so I think when you remove the creator, kind of like what Disney's doing with Star Wars, right? Like that kind of opens the door for whatever you want to do with it. Fans have expectations of what that is. How much you play into that hand or experiment with new things, yet keep that BioShock essence. That's the battle. That's the tough thing. Like, you don't want to go back down to Rapture. You don't want to go in the clouds again. Where do you go?
That's the great question, right? And it's like, okay, underground, I guess.
Yeah, or surface.
I mean, yeah. The new bold approach to BioShock, just the middle of New Jersey.
Yeah, we've smack dab in the middle.
You're trying to think about it like, where the hell could they go? I mean, there's like the moon base thing, which I guess is relatively untouched. That'd be like a crazy, just futuristic take on BioShock.
That'd just be Prey.
That would just be Prey, or maybe like the moon DLC or whatever they're teasing. Mars. Cork, you're totally right. Mars, look in my basement.
Mars, look in my basement.
But
and
you don't know.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
You don't know. You think it's like Nebraska. But then you get to like a wall and you open a door and it's Mars surface.
Corn is just painted on.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Odds here are serious predictions. Return to Rapture. What are the odds a new BioShock would go there?
They did that with the DLC.
Okay, so you're saying 0?
0.
Imran?
Yeah, 0. I don't think they go back.
It's been so long. I hope they don't go back, but I'd say there's a 10% chance. Okay, and don't try and add these up for some sort of crazy math. Let's go nuts. Let's go underground facility, deep near the Earth's core.
Does it have to be ground Earth or under the surface of a planet?
Ground Earth. We're talking like Journey to the Center of the Earth
50%.
style. 50%.
Yes.
0%.
Okay, Imran?
I'd say like 30%.
Okay, I'll go 30 as well. All right. Moon or Mars? The sci-fi futuristic BioShock.
50%.
I would go so high as 50%.
20%.
20%. Imran?
I'd be 50 as well on that one.
Okay. Return to Columbia?
0%.
0%.
I'm out of
0.
percentage. I've squandered my...
There we go. All right, new BioShock. Next news story, everybody, is... Oh, G54. We all know what this one means.
G54. Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
Ryder, do you want to set this sucker up? What's happening?
So Call of Duty is a franchise that gives you what? Multiplayer? Like redefined multiplayer a decade ago with Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
You got zombies co-op zombie survival game.
Or something in that vein.
What's the third one? I can't remember what the third.
I think those are just the two.
Classically designed single-player campaign.
Yeah, it has been a huge thing throughout the years. And this week, Polygon broke a story saying, hey, Black Ops 4, they're not going to have a campaign, which is wild to think about. And the way the story writes it, it's like, oh, it just didn't come together and they scrapped it, which is crazy for Treyarch's game that's coming out this year.
Sounded like they ran out of time.
A little bit,
that's what they said. Like, they realized it wouldn't be done in time to hit the October ship date, which is earlier than usual, right?
Yeah.
Which is disappointing because that's my kind of gateway into that experience. Like, I always play the single player campaign first. And then if I really enjoy that, then it'll be like, okay, I'll go check out what they're doing with multiplayer. Maybe I'll get, I'll end up prestiging it. I like it so much. Or, zombies. But I always start with that campaign. And yeah, some of them, it's a hit or miss thing, right? Like, some of them are really fun and bombastic and crazy. Other ones are just really cheesy or, poorly paced. But
still kind of fun to see the crazy colors.
Every one of them gives you those moments.
Yeah.
There are those big moments where something's crashing or blowing up that's just your character's getting thrown around, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss that stuff.
It's insane to think of Activision just being like, I don't know what numbers they were looking at. Maybe they didn't have a choice here. It's like, it's not going to come together. We can't delay Call of Duty. We need a Call of Duty this year. What do we cut?
And to be clear, Activision has not confirmed this, though, correct?
No.
That's true.
They will not comment on it.
Yeah.
Polygon has numerous sources. Kotaku corroborated that with their own sources, one of which saying that they have heard there's a battle royale mode in this. Now, again, these are all sources. We don't know how accurate this stuff is. Take it with a grain of salt. But come on.
It's looking likely. Even on that Call of Duty World War II cover story trip, we talked to Hirschberg, who was the CEO of Activision at the time, about like, hey, would Call of Duty Battle Royale ever work? And he was basically never say never. We're looking at it, obviously. You can't ignore it. And so the idea is they would make up for lack of single player by ramping up zombies and multiplayer efforts. And that's a pretty distinct way of ramping up multiplayer instead of being like, we have 3 more maps than normal, but to be like, hey, Call of Duty Battle Royale. Imran, do you think it can work?
It can work, but I don't think it's going to work on a $60 disc. That's people bought into PUBG because PUBG was not $60. It was, I think, $30 when it first launched.
Yeah.
And it managed to get momentum from there. If people see Call of Duty now with a Battle Royale mode instead of a single player mode, they're going to feel ripped off, like they're getting less for their money.
Yeah, and there's also, I think it's still just rumors at this point, too, that they're remastering Modern Warfare 2. I don't think they've confirmed that, have they?
They haven't confirmed it, no.
Okay, but it seems like a pretty solid rumor. And so the idea is like, oh, would they bundle that in with
pre-order
this?
bonus again or whatever?
Yeah, as a way of like, oh, the single-player campaign's there. It's just Modern Warfare 2's campaign. Please enjoy,
just change
everybody.
the title screen.
Yeah. I just want to know if Call of Duty's tech could even handle 100 players or what that would look like.
Yeah, they just have to use their resources in different ways, I would assume. I think it could work, and I think they have enough fans to maybe put it over the top. I agree with you that people are going to see it as something's missing in this game, like a big crater is where there used to be this pillar experience. Whereas Battle Royale feels like more of just an extension of multiplayer, right? Like it's just another mode of the sea of modes they already have.
Right.
But we'll have to wait and see. I'm an optimist when it comes to games. I'm going to miss the big story sequences and that campaign, but I'm also excited. Treyarch's a talented team, and I want to see what they bring to replace that, if they do. I mean, these are all rumors again.
All rumors, totally. But I'm with you that I want to see what they do to replace it, but I wish, I think it'd be so much more interesting if it was like from the get-go of this game's production, we're not doing the campaign.
Yeah.
But knowing that there's a campaign out there,
unfinished.
Yeah, like 60% done
like.
Or whatever the hell it's at this point. Like, that is heartbreaking to think that all that work went into it and then they're scrapping it. Because I think if they are scrapping it from the get-go and just ramping up, like we're reinventing multiplayer on a huge way.
Yeah, even if they didn't do Battle Royale and they just went all in on 2 modes opposed to the 3.
Right.
Like, yeah, let's see what that is.
It is crazy, the idea of a Call of Duty not coming together. I mean, it's been how many years now where every year it's hit, and they eventually, with Advanced Warfare, added the 3rd studio in the full rotation there so that each team has 3 years to make a Call of Duty. And so Treyarch's had a long time and just, oh man, it's devastating.
Could it be like, I mean, this is just me thinking out loud, like Battle Royale takes off last year. Word comes down from Activision on, at the top of the company, like, you guys got to add this mode. What do we got to do to make this mode work? We absolutely have to have this mode. The sacrifice has to be the mode that's the least played.
That's
Single
be
player?
zombies. Zombies has to be the least played, right?
I doubt it.
Certainly lower than single player.
I doubt it.
Really?
Yeah, because you get, every zombies match is 4 players, right? Like,
Yeah.
so, you just do the math on like going in there, like campaign. Like I had some stats. 9% of Steam players finished the Black Ops 3's campaign.
Oh, really?
8% on Xbox.
Campaigns, but okay, yeah.
But World War II, it was considerably higher, like 35% finished
Oh, wow.
it.
Okay.
And like 28% on Xbox. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. They have the numbers. They probably know what's best for their business. It's just disappointing for us that really enjoyed it,
Does it
right?
keep
If these
track-
rumors are true.
Does it keep track of how many people played zombies more than one time in those games? Because like those things seem like a fun, weird curiosity, but I've played them like maybe 2 or 3 times, but never been like, I gotta go home and play some zombies tonight.
People got into that
limit.
though. People got way into zombies.
Yeah?
It wasn't my cup of tea. I liked the core multiplayer and single player.
I'm with ya.
That's where I was, but
Yeah.
there are groups of people that love that stuff.
And so the rumor, I think Charlie Intel, who does a lot of Call of Duty rumors and stuff, they're reporting that Raven was going to be working on that Battle Royale, kind of the support studio. And then yesterday...
Which is, by the way,
Yeah.
in the same town as one of the teams working on Player Unknown's maps.
You're right. Is it Madison?
Yeah.
Okay, Wisconsin. Blue Hole.
Blue Hole.
Yeah. Oh, that's a weird connection to think about. I wonder if they got any talent bleeding over in any way. But then yesterday, GamesBeat reported that also Battlefield 5, the also rumored return to World War II, that they're tinkering around with the Battle Royale mode for Battlefield. And I feel like a Battle Royale in Battlefield makes so much more sense than Call of Duty.
Yeah. Well,
Higher player
you got
count,
the
you got the
vehicles,
vehicles.
yeah.
Like, man, and I'd imagine maybe that tech can handle it better, not being a techie myself. I'm very excited to see where it goes. Imran?
The thing about that, like, Battle Royale modes coming to everything means that there's only so many Battle Royale games people are going to play. And by virtue of this kind of genre, if one doesn't fill up, if it doesn't take off and become popular, then no one will play it. And it's an entirely momentum-based genre.
Bot programmer hiring.
But they have to try. I mean, with the world's most popular series
yeah.
like Call of Duty, like you have to go for the most popular mode possible. And
yeah,
see if they make
like I
well.
said at the beginning of this, Call of Duty redefined competitive multiplayer for shooters, right? That happened again last year with these Battle Royale modes, right?
Yeah.
They need to kind of mark their territory there, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to make or break a Call of Duty or a Battlefield game. It will just be another extension of that experience, right?
That has
Like,
the potential to be the new default multiplaer mode. I mean, if it really takes off in a big way.
if it's done right, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Exciting times. Next story. Oh, this is a good one. I-28. And then it goes a little something like
I-28.
this.
Radical Heights.
Oh, what a beautiful segue. Speaking of Battle Royale modes taking off, Imran, do you have any sense of Radical Heights' success so far?
Not great. So, I mean, obviously there's no tracking for this anymore.
Yeah.
But from what I can tell, people are not filling up games. The first day, there was a lot of people. After that, it's been not doing Lawbreakers numbers, but it's been pretty low, like compared to other Battle Royale games that are playable on Steam or on PC in general.
Yeah, so this is Bosky Productions. Cliffy B went over and founded that studio with some other former Epic people, and now they've made the drastic shift to make Radical Heights, which we have a new gameplay today of if you want to check it out. Leo's sticked around with it a little bit. I have a little bit too. It's cute, but weird, the idea that they label it, even at the start of the game, as extreme early access and trying to go along with their entire 80s aesthetic. Like, hey, man, far out. Look how extreme this thing is, because it is rough. It is super early. Yeah. But everyone's like, getting on them like, oh, trying to get on that Battle Royale hype train. Here we go. Maybe that studio didn't have a choice. Maybe it was Lawbreakers is not succeeding and this is a make or break. We have 5 months to make something. Let's just go for the Hail Mary. And it's, what are you going to do? Make a Battle Royale mode, of course. But it's just bizarre to think of the Cliffy B flow from Epic and him working on Fortnite back in the day. And then Fortnite made that transition, and now his new studio is also like, please us. Please, dear God. Are bikes enough to save it, Cork?
I have not seen it. So I cannot speak to the quality or potential of that game.
I think they're doing some cool things, like the trampoline, the traversal stuff is pretty neat. In this day and age, I get the sense that a lot of people kind of in the multiplayer space are kind of releasing their vertical slice, their prototype.
Yeah.
And that's what this kind of feels like a little bit. Like there's some really rough stuff. If you're on a bike and you're shooting, it's just bullets shooting out of your head. There's no animation for that.
Right.
So I don't know, where do consumers kind of look at these things? Like, are they like, oh, this is garbage, it doesn't look good, when it's stacked up against Fortnite, which comes out as super polished because it's been in development forever.
Yeah.
They made that mode quickly, but the mechanics have been in the works forever.
Yeah, the groundwork's been there for so long.
Or is it a benefit to get in the ground floor and be able to have your input addressed by the developer? I don't know. I think maybe both.
Yeah.
Is the game free?
Yes, with microtransactions.
Is it available on console?
Which is a problem because that game is selling cosmetics that might not actually exist in the final game. Like they're selling T-shirts and things for things that like the game could just never come out, and people are paying for things that might never exist.
Yeah, that's true, but it's not a console yet, Cork.
All right.
Just a Steam thing so far.
Good luck.
Keep your eye on it. It's an interesting story. All right, next news story. Oh, this is the humdinger.
Uh-oh.
061.
061. PlayStation 5 rumors.
Oh boy. Imran, you want to take this one? Kotaku had a write-up saying, hey, the next generation might be further away than you think, or is it?
So this kind of goes a little bit earlier. There was a website that I've forgotten the name of, but they were charging like $1,000 for what they call PlayStation 5 rumors that they were relatively confident on. Those rumors stated that the Sony was planning to launch as soon as later this year, and dev kits were already in the hands of developers, et cetera, et cetera. The Kotaku story was Jason Schreier talking to other developers and actually trying to validate whether that was true.
Yeah.
He's, from what he could tell, 2018 launch is way, way optimistic. Pretty much nobody has dev kits right now, and the ones that do are basically just PCs. But Sony is talking to developers supposedly about what next generation will look like and what a PlayStation 5 should be.
Okay, so Mark Cerny is making his grand tour again, in theory, if he's going to lead the architecture on this one again, to see what developers want. And right now it's just a rough PC sitting somewhere in a corner of Naughty Dog. I'm sure they have this PC to the PlayStation 5 rough specs just to start tinkering around with.
I mean, anecdotally, I've talked to developers that have said, yeah, we've been approached about PlayStation 5 games.
Really? Interesting.
So Sony is having those conversations. It's just a matter of whether or not any games are actually materializing, which, as far as I know, I don't know of any.
Yeah, I don't know of any either. It's tough to try and figure out what it would be. But just PlayStation 5, as far as like what we even know and the beginning rumblings of next generation, it was like Avalanche, the Just Cause developers, they posted a while back a job posting saying, hey, we want some help with next gen projects. And it's fun to build up that cycle again of like, here we go. It feels like it wasn't that long ago, but I guess it was. Let's get this whole hype train rolling and the big next gen rumors.
So do you think that it marks like a big split between 4 and PlayStation 5, whatever form that takes?
No.
Or is it more of a substantial but incremental upgrade where you're not abandoning your library if you're already in the PS4?
What the Pro should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the X.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, again, not being techie at all, I'd imagine PlayStation 4 games will be playable on PlayStation 5. Reiner, on this very podcast, months and months ago, you said something which was extreme, which was you expected vice versa. Do you still stand by that PlayStation 5 games could be playable on PlayStation 4?
No, not that way. The other way.
No, you said
PlayStation
5 on 4.
Well, that was misconstrued. I meant PlayStation 4 games playable on PlayStation 5.
Okay. I don't think you meant that. I went back and listened to it. I think you meant 5 on 4.
What do you think, Imran?
I think there will probably be a hard limit that cuts off probably early PlayStation 4 or even like PS4 in general. But I do think that PS4 games will be playable on a PS5.
Okay, PS4 to PS5. Okay, that's a lot.
That's
at
exactly
this point, yeah. So what studios would be up to bat? I mean, who knows what's going on with Microsoft, but just to focus on this PlayStation 5 thing in particular here, do we think that, oh God, Guerrilla's talented, they can crank out games, they cranked out Killzone Shadowfall for the launch of the PS4, could they, if this thing's launching 2019, 2020, get out some form of a Horizon sequel for the launch of this thing? Or what other studios would be ready to go for launching a game on the next system?
I mean, I think the smart thing to do would be to have a bunch of studios that are already working on PS4 tech have something ready that could look better and like not a generational leap, but a significant improvement on PS4 games. Like if I were Sony, Death Stranding would not be a PS4 title only. It would be a PS5 title as well. And same with Horizon, same with whatever else, Last of Us 2.
So, yeah, Last of Us 2 is that odd one where I could totally see that splitting the generation whenever that thing comes out, because I don't think they've even set a release date so far.
Last time they talked about it, they said it was like 60% done.
Just like that single-player campaign from Call of Duty. Holy cow, it all works out. So, I mean, yeah, 2018 rumors for PlayStation 5 seem a bit insane, especially when it was announced in early March that Days Gone is now going to be a 2019 game. That seems confusing, and in theory, that's just for the PlayStation 4.
I'm remembering what I said on that podcast.
Yeah?
It was PlayStation 5 being like the Xbox One X, where
Right.
all the games work on it. Yeah, they work backwards as well,
Right.
like Last of Us. Yeah, so it's not going to be a true generation leap. The name doesn't matter anymore. I think it's just going to be a more powerful system.
Mm-hmm.
So, no cutoff then, going backwards?
I don't think so. I mean,
Here's a
they could eventually. Xbox One X could do that too.
Yeah?
But they've stated time and time again, maybe to their detriment, that all games will always work on other Xbox Ones.
So here's the question then.
Yeah.
Major controller revision
Better be.
for the PS5?
Stagger those analog sticks.
Oh, really?
I like the staggered. I know some people
yeah.
like this, the cross even
Thumb
analogs.
wrestling.
I
attack.
like the higher analog.
That'd be drastic. I could see him getting rid of that touchpad. I think it's
USB-C?
The light gone. We don't need that
Gone.
crap.
basically go back to the PlayStation 1 controller, except more comfortable. We're good. We're good. Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to put a PS4 controller down without it pushing in both triggers for some reason.
These are very simple adjustments. Don't even need to like revolutionize the tech. Just change the controller, call it a PS5. There we go. Everyone's happy.
Works for
Tricky.
Nintendo.
Yeah. Do you think Polyphony, GT Sport came out last year? Do you think they're a contender for launch?
No.
No?
We release one game every 8 years now.
Is there anybody else? Dreams? Is that going to be a split generational thing?
Sure.
It's going to be whatever you want.
Yeah, you can make a PlayStation 5 within it. Whatever
Exactly.
makes you happy. All right.
I mean, they haven't done Little Big Planet in a long time. Maybe they work on that.
Yeah. Who's working on that? What was that
it was
team?
Sumo, I think. Were
Yeah.
they working on Little Big Planet 3 on PlayStation 4? Yeah.
PlayStation 5 launch title confirmed.
There we go. Next news story. Leo in the booth, B1.
B1 Dragon Quest 11 on Switch.
Imran, this is your baby.
Yeah, I
You
talked
made
to
it?
the producers
Oh.
at PAX East about it.
Yeah, so you're at PAX East. What did you learn about Dragon Quest 11 on Switch?
So the game was the very first NX title ever announced in 2015.
Wow.
When they were announcing Dragon Quest 11 for PS4 and 3DS, they're like, also it's coming to NX. So there's been a long time where they haven't been able to really explain it. So the game got announced for localization for PS4 and Steam this past month, and they had to explain okay, the Switch version's coming, it's just not going to be for a very long time. And their explanation is Unreal Engine 4 just didn't support the Switch until I think it was March of last year. So they haven't actually been able to work on it since then.
Okay, so that's just the launch of the Switch is
Yes.
when finally you could support Unreal. So they've just been not working on that version until then? That seems insane.
From what the producer tells me, they've been sitting in meetings with Nintendo and Epic to try what they need and what they need when they need it.
Yeah.
And they've not been doing nothing. They've been trying to figure it out. It's just they haven't been able to do it in active development.
That's insane. I desperately want to play that game on Switch. And was there any indication of it's going to be it's going to be for sure the PlayStation 4 version, not some weird up-res 3DS version, right?
No, yeah, they confirmed it would be the PS4 version.
Okay.
I asked them about the 3DS version, and that was one of the things they said was because of the way that game looks, it's a very old school looking Dragon Quest game. They don't think it makes sense for the West.
That's insane.
They want to put the best foot forward, so they want the best looking version possible.
That's fine. Then release the 3DS version 2 months later. That 3DS audience is so huge that you have not releasing this game that's already made in Japan on 3DS is wild. Plus, it had that super cool thing where you can see the retro graphics on the lower screen. I want to see what that's like in the West.
Nah, screw them. Get a Switch.
Jeez. And then wait. So at some point, it'll come to the Switch still.
Yes, that it may be a year from now, it may be less, but probably more. But it's still planned to come to the Switch in the West.
It's still exciting that the idea that they're launching on Steam day and date as PS4, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same day, exactly same version. They've made some improvements to the Japanese version, so I think it'll do quite well on Steam, actually.
Oh, I think so too. I mean, look, like Nier Automata was like a crazy success on Steam. Yeah, and it's nice that Square learned that lesson a little bit of like, oh, if we just get it out of the gate on Steam instead of the Final Fantasy 15 version that came out 2 days ago or whatever, yeah, it can do well. All right, next news story. Here we go. This one is B13, Leo.
B13, Spyro Reignited Trilogy.
Here
What?
we go. Andrew Reiner.
Who saw that coming?
King of the Spyro.
Yeah.
There's so many rumors forever. And much like Crash Bandicoot, now Toys for Bob, who's the Skylander studio, going way back as well, they are remaking officially Spyro 1 through 3. And it's coming out on not just PS4 now. It's going to be multiple consoles and maybe Switch in the future.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Those are fun games. PlayStation 1 era platforming. I don't know how well that's going to hold up, but I'm excited. I'm excited to revisit those games, especially with the new graphics and hopefully improved controls.
Yeah, I think the last time I went back and played Spyro 1, I've only played through Spyro 1. I absolutely loved it back in the day, but I felt like that game held up better than Crash Bandicoot's gameplay. And I'm curious if the new version also will find that fan base that realizes, like, oh, this still controls pretty well. I think there's a good chance of it. But Reiner, I assumed you reviewed all 3 of those games
All
or
of them.
something?
Yeah, all that stuff.
Give me the
Insomniac Games, by the way, the developer of the originals.
There we go, Spider-Man.
Making
fan.
Spider-Man, yeah.
Okay, so Spyro 2, I played a little bit of.
Is that
and eventually,
Ripto's Rage?
Yes, and then 3 was Year of the Dragon.
Yeah.
And my take on Year of the Dragon was there were like 300 different characters. It was zany as all hell, but still good, right?
Yeah, I thought all 3 of them were very good.
Okay.
It is a good trilogy, just like the Crash trilogy. I think both Naughty Dog and Insomniac back in the day, they were kind of trading off like months, basically. It was like you play Crash and then you play Spyro, and those were 2 of the best PlayStation games you'd get that year.
And now they're going to be PlayStation 4, maybe PlayStation 5 games. You're going to keep going with these series forever. We'll never get away. And the new design for Spyro looks good. I think that's tough to do. They totally did it.
With Toys for Bob doing it instead of Vicarious Visions, who did Crash, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean Vicarious is making maybe new classically designed Crash
There
games?
was a rumor around there. I think you got to
Gotta
use
be
that
awesome.
talent. I mean, that team knows Crash inside and out at this point. Even if it's on the quality of Traveler's Tales, Wrath of Cortex, fine. I think people would be happy to play a game even in that vein again,
Yeah.
Here's hoping. All right, next story. N33.
Bingo!
Holy cow, we got it!
N33, Steamspy is shutting down.
Heartbreaking. Steamspy, if you're familiar, we talked about it. We referenced it on the podcast so much. That is an awesome way where there's a site where you can see what how many games have sold on Steam, and it's so handy just to get a sense of what's popular, what people are playing, shifting trends within Steam, and that is now being nuked because why, Imran?
So Steam, Valve instituted new privacy stuff for Steam, which makes it so by default your public library is not visible to anyone unless you want them to see it. Which means that the entire data crawling that Steamspy did to figure out how many people own a game no longer works at all.
Oh, it's heartbreaking. And is this Facebook's fault?
Yes, it's always Mark Zuckerberg's
Son
fault.
of a Zuckerberg. It sucks. Wasn't that handy? Did you guys check it out?
To a degree.
Really?
I mean, it was handy if it was a game on PC, but there was always an asterisk on those numbers, right?
Yeah.
They're like, if it's below this number, it might not be completely accurate. If it's above this one, who knows?
That's true.
But also, it was just a snapshot of Steam. It's not like giving you the full landscape. And that's something that's always bugged me about video games is like motion pictures. I can get a weekly estimate on what's going to happen that weekend down to the cent maybe. And then video games, companies never reveal it. Even if they're like publicly traded, they don't give us like all the data. Like,
and the MPDs don't count digital. It's just, it's a confusing
and we don't even,
mess.
Yeah, we don't even get those numbers now too. It's like,
exactly.
Here's number 1 through 10. It's like, what does that mean?
Right. How many is Grand Theft Auto selling again and again and again every single month? I need to know the exact number.
We've shipped 5 million. It's like, If I had a lot of money, I could ship 5 million of something too.
Yeah, it just sucks to have less transparency in the industry and less information on what's selling which way.
This will be really fun.
I anecdotally have heard a lot of publishers talk about how they don't like Steamspy because it gives numbers they don't want out.
Well, I'm sorry, but it's information that's very useful, especially like developers have also talked about. Like, it's nice just to get a sense of, is this type of game selling well? What's under the radar?
Yeah.
How many units is Tacoma selling on Steam? This is fun information to have.
You would think if you saw like, hey, that movie's doing very well. Jumanji.
Right.
Perfect example. I never wanted to see that movie, and then I saw it did extremely well, and it's like, okay, I'll see it.
Yeah.
But just looking at the charts, you'd see that. Like, gamers would probably look at the charts and be like, well, what's this Banner Saga?
Right.
Like, well, I'll check that out. At
Does it
least
have
watch a trailer, see if you want to see it.
And does Banner
play
Saga
it.
have as much like dick humor as Jumanji did? Out of nowhere. It just seemed to go on forever.
Is that true? Does it really?
Yeah.
What type of jokes? Give a good dick joke, sir.
I wouldn't say it's a good dick joke, but like
Well,
Jack
a woman-
Black's character
yeah.
keeps talking about his wiener and he like urinates and then it's like an extended riffing sequence where it's like, okay, we get
It's
it.
because the woman went into his body and she never had one.
Oh, they
before.
belabor that point. Yes.
Oh, Jumanji.
Oh,
You sunk so
Jumanji.
low. Next and last news story, N34. Everyone's favorite.
Yep.
N34, Billy Mitchell stripped of records.
Oh, boy.
Boo.
Now your boo
Cheater!
is warranted, Jeff Clark. Reiner, have you been following this thing?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, what a great saga that there was from the outset, right? Like of these people competing to be, what was it, the first to 1 million in Donkey Kong?
Yeah.
You know,
like that.
the King of Kong captured that brilliantly. And when I heard this, I was like, man, that just kind of makes all of that look worthless. But then I really thought about it. I was like, actually, that's a new chapter of that story that's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
If they ever want to make that King of Kong sequel, yeah. And like yesterday or 2 days ago, Billy Mitchell released a video where it's him in some lobby of some venue. It seems bizarre. And he's just saying like, oh, we're going to set the record straight. We're going to get to the bottom of this investigation that goes back 35 years. And seems like he's holding a grudge against the modern leadership of Twin Galaxies, like the record keepers, saying like, oh, times have changed. The old timers are going to help me, prove why this is totally legit.
Because it's like the Guinness people that basically handle that now, right?
Oh, I guess they do, yeah.
Because like, what does Walter D do? He just, he wears his uniform and hearts shoot out of his eyes toward Billy Mitchell, right?
Full-time career.
No, like seriously though,
Yeah.
like, that has to be a heartbreaking moment for Walter Day because
yeah.
you can tell that he just has such affection for Billy Mitchell. Like,
Yeah.
and to have his records invalidated and he's barred from submitting scores in the future even?
Yeah, is that what it is?
I
For
think-
Twin Galaxies specifically?
Yeah.
And the whole idea is, his King Kong, Jesus Christ, his Donkey Kong records that like, oh, there's proof through this crazy investigation that like, oh, he's using MAME the
Which-
entire time.
Apparently is okay, but if you use MAME, you have to go through a whole different set of submission guidelines.
Oh, interesting.
And you have to use like a certain build and everything. I think the fact, and I could be wrong, but I believe the fact is he just didn't acknowledge that and was trying to pass on emulated
school,
gameplay as
Stupid
the
thing.
real board.
And
Yeah.
the sad thing too is it's not like he can't play a mean game of Donkey Kong. He's amazing at Donkey Kong, and just to be so good at something and
Right.
still cheat in that weird way. What a weird
Well, he
move.
probably, if what I was saying, I don't know that he thought he was cheating necessarily.
he
It
just
was
submitted
just like,
it incorrectly.
yeah, I'm just running this. It's the same thing. What's the difference kind of a thing when maybe you got to read
No,
that
see,
fine
so the
print.
thing is, he absolutely knew he was cheating because his witnesses were people who also were caught for cheating for different things.
But was it cheating though? Like he wasn't running a version of MAME and Donkey
he had
Kong
the-
that let him
he-
like clip through barrels, and he was just like,
It wasn't a lie of omission. He was saying he was doing it on the original arcade, and he had witnesses saying that they did, but they weren't filmed.
mm-hmm.
He just had people saying it, and that's part of the like when I was looking into this whole thing, like the actual methodology for finding this out is almost entirely we'll believe anything you say, but if someone makes an accusation, we investigate it. So for the most part, Mitchell's scores were like not unrealistic. They were pretty believable, and people just believed him when he said, I did it on the arcade, or I just filmed the screen, or whatever. But they didn't actually verify anything until the accusations came down,
And
which is why it's all blowing up now.
I think it was Variety might have caught up with Steve Wiebe then and asked him about it. And he's like, it all makes sense now. Like looking back on it, like when Billy wouldn't show up for like the competitions and certain things.
Oh, interesting.
And he's like, it all started even on King of Kong. Like he wouldn't make an appearance for something. Like he's like, oh, I always thought that was weird, but maybe now that adds some justification to why he wouldn't show up.
Yeah. And if you're interested in these two figures, we had Steve Wiebe on an old episode of Replay playing Donkey Konga, his favorite.
He couldn't set a high score in that.
He really blew it. And then Billy Mitchell was on an old episode of the Game Informer show, and I should have asked him just out of the blue.
Are you a cheater?
Yeah, exactly. Are you a dirty, rotten liar, Mr. Mitchell? I need to know.
I do think that's a good coda to King of Kong, though, is that because Mitchell got removed from the top score, Wiebe then is now the first person to 1 million.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, you're right. Wiebe always wins. Never bet against Wiebe. That's it for news stories. Thanks to the concept of bingo for giving us all this wonderful news. You guys want to move on to emails?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here we go. And welcome back to the Game Informer Show. We have some great emails that people sent into podcast@GameInformer.com. Cork, do you know what they sent in to podcast@GameInformer.com?
They sent questions, comments.
Yes.
Feedback is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Suggestions.
Yep.
News stories that they thought they wanted us to talk about.
That weren't in the bingo big old ball arena. Anything that makes the show better, send it to podcast@GameInformer.com. We're going to read all these off. Then we're going to choose our absolute favorite and then ship that person out something very nice.
Very nice. And no, a virus that shuts down our microphones is not making the podcast better for the last time.
David from Tennessee writes in and says, as Dantak mentioned under his breath on last week's podcast, most of his games that he plays don't have a box to have a back of for back of the box trivia. He said, I suggest taking Steam descriptions for games and have your panel try to guess those as well for back of the box trivia, which Kyle has done the time he hosted. He pulled Steam descriptions. You know, it's less charming.
Yeah.
But here's the suggestion that really wins me over. David from Tennessee says, P.S. This could spawn a new type of game if you, instead of descriptions, you took Steam reviews and tried to get the panel to guess the games based on the Steam reviews.
I like that. Metacritic reviews, too. User reviews.
Yeah. Ooh, I haven't never really dug into those.
They're bad.
Just user review challenges? That'd be so fun.
I have one, too.
Yeah.
Like the top 10... like subject lines for posts on the GameFAQs board for a game too.
Ooh.
Like, have you gotten to the Red Knight yet? Are you guys having fun with this game?
Final Fantasy 9. Bobby Saychrist. Saychrist?
You're on your own.
He says, hey, from playing Marvel's Spider-Man, Andrew Reiner on PS4, what do you think it'll be rated?
Either... Probably teen.
It's got to be teen, right?
Teen for teen, yeah.
At some point, he's going to drop the S-bomb.
Although, there's one clip we show of him kicking a guy in the head, and the guy flying through the air, and there's a blood spray.
That's comic mischief.
So I don't know if blood in an action game immediately puts it up to M. Because remember, Modern Warfare, or Medal of Honor wouldn't have blood and would be just rated teen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can't imagine they'd go for the mature Spider-Man. They'd be leaning into it so
I'm
much
just wondering
harder if
what
they are.
blood constitutes. It's dumb to say that, but
Yeah, I hear you.
I would go with teen as my guess. But
Yeah, it's got to.
Do
They
people
have to be
bleed
pushing
in
for
Uncharted?
I feel like they do. Is Uncharted M?
It's teen.
Is it really? Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
How's the Spider-Man coverage going, Reiner?
it's great. We're almost done.
Yeah?
We're in, what, week 2, 3? I don't even remember.
Something like that.
But yeah, 14-page cover story. Lots of details.
Yeah.
We got to play it.
There we go. And then up on the site, it's Mary Jane profile, Peter Parker profile.
Diving deep into the characters and talking to the studio, from Bill Roseman over at Marvel to Brian Intihar over at Insomniac. We got a lot of insight into the game.
Yeah.
So check that stuff out.
At the end of the month, it looks like we're going to do the kind of answering the lingering questions podcast as well with Brian Intihar. So it'll be fun to,
should be
if
fun.
you have questions, check out GameInformer.com. We'll have a post up there and leave a comment with a question. We'll volley it at the creative director. Okay, Hazel Mohammed, friend of the show from Columbia, South Carolina. He says, hello, crew. So PAX East has come and gone, and I have one burning question. What exactly is PAX East? And why is it such an important video game convention? Because I rarely see games being announced at PAX, so what gives? What is the point of it? Imran, you were just there. What do you think?
I've always been of the idea that PAX is kind of the only... Okay, used to be the only gamer-centric, like user-centric convention for games. Like, there's like all sorts of like anime ones and smaller game convention ones, but like this is by like major companies backing. other video game publishers go in to show off their stuff. So by like sheer number, the PAX conventions are not necessarily places to announce games, but places to get your game seen on social media and for people to play it and try it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
With E3 opening to the public, I don't know how much sense PAX makes anymore, or how much sense E3 opening to the public makes anymore. Like,
Yeah. Or the whole world, Imran.
like both of those things, they're not necessarily compatible, and at one point, one of those is going to have to either expand or contract greatly.
Yeah.
The thing I see
So-
about PAX is it kind of has that fan vibe more than E3 does. E3, people are going to play new games and stuff like that. Whereas PAX, you see more cosplay and kind of communities getting together for tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah, with E3 so new to being public, no one's going there, I don't think, to hang out and meet folks, whereas PAX is so great for just playing board games or just hanging out for sure. Yeah. Did you have a good time at PAX?
I threw out my back carrying around stuff.
Ooh, PAX.
So other
Yes.
than that, I've been good.
All right, good. Ramiro Barragan. That's your real name. That's amazing. Writes in and says, "Hello, crew. Long time, first time. I recently beat Horizon Zero Dawn. Late, I know. And even though it's not Elder Scrolls level, it's still a large world with a lot of side quests and errands to get distracted by. I realize with open world RPGs, I always do side quests and exploring to level up past what I'll need for the story, and I'll slowly play the heck out of it. How do you guys play your RPGs? What do you guys do to not get overwhelmed with all the extra stuff?"
Like RPGs or open world
I think
games?
it
or
must
a
be
little of both?
open world-ish,
Yeah.
RPG-ish is kind of this arena. How do you not get overwhelmed by all that?
You got to pick and choose what is fun and prioritize that. It's weird though that he uses Horizon Zero Dawn as the anchor for the letter, because I did 100% that, found all the stupid collectibles and all that nonsense.
Was it worth it?
No, because by the time I found all the collectibles, it was like, here's some ammo for some crap you've outgrown.
Exactly.
Like, hey, here's an outfit that is just no good.
Yeah.
Ugh. I wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah.
I guess it was on me. I could have looked online and been like, after the second or third time I got burned, hey, wait, I sort of think this may not be such a great idea.
No more.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I hate doing side quests. I hate just having checklists. Like,
Mhm.
I'm okay with side quests if it's like one at a time.
Yeah.
But they're just saying yes to every quest giver and then going through menu. I just absolutely hate that. But what was tough was Ni no Kuni 2, which I just beat over the weekend and absolutely loved. That game, a lot of the side quests are like going out and getting new characters for your town, which they eventually gate the main story by. So it's like important, I think, to go and recruit those people. But it's a weird balance because I didn't want to do many optional quests outside of those because I was so scared of leveling up, and that game is already stupidly easy. And the idea of just steamrolling enemies even more. So I was trying to like not even get into random fights that much, like really trying to make it a challenge because that game is insanely easy. And I love an easy game, but it pushes it so far.
I always prioritize too, like the what do you call them? The eagle spots in the Assassin's Creed games, or things that will like open up a map. That's I have to do all those. Like I don't like any part of the map to be obscured.
Yeah.
But after a while, if you're just like, oh, this type of guy is only giving me a thing that gives me a kind of currency or things that I'm not interested in, then those will kind of fall by the wayside. But
Yeah.
I'm all about the checklist and following the mission waypoints. But how I tackle stuff depends on kind of the pursuit of power or territory control. Like I think if you are taking down territories, I will go for 100%. Like I will save the day or save the entire world, right? But there's been a couple of games where I've deviated from that. Like Elder Scrolls Skyrim was, I just kind of gave that up and I would just like head east
Yeah.
or west for a day. I'm doing that again in Far Cry 5. I have a very different take on it than Jeff. I'm really
playing.
enjoying that.
What are you enjoying so much about Far Cry? Just for a quick detour.
Just the emergent stories that are happening. Just me driving around in a truck with a machine gun on it and like just blowing away stuff. And then I'll see a bear chasing two people into the woods and I'll go follow that and I'll stumble upon like some orchard or something and I'll take that out. And
Yeah.
next thing I know, I'm just, I don't know, 1,000 feet away from where I needed to be and continue getting further and further. And I go up a mountain. And so that, yeah, just the emergent stories and kind of plotting my own course.
Yeah.
I'm digging that.
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like I derailed you. You're
No, that's fine.
okay. Gotcha. Imran, how do you play these things?
So Zelda kind of changed the way I play open world games a bit, because like the way that game worked, it just let me do anything.
Yeah.
So the way I chose it was like I'd give myself a goal and just like, okay, I want to go see what's over in those mountains. So whatever I do on that path, if I let myself get distracted, if I find side quest, if I see a cool little thing on the side, like some moblins setting up camp, like I'll go do that. But I'm still setting my main goal in the head of like, okay, I would still want to go see what's at that mountain.
Yeah.
So like I love playing open world games like that now. Of just don't worry about what the game is waypointing me to. Just go explore on my own. If I get bored or don't feel like doing it, I just don't do it.
But I feel like it's going to take a while maybe before, this is a weird thing to say, before other open world designers might try and mimic that Breath of the Wild style. So it's so weird. I have that too, where it's like, I just want to avoid the story. I just want to beeline it, go a direction, like Reiner with Skyrim, right? And just have those experiences. But there's always something that comes crashing down when you realize, oh, this isn't Breath of the Wild. No other games are designed in such a weird way. Yeah.
I think we're going to see probably by next year the ones emulating The Witcher first. And then after that, we'll probably see Breath of the Wild.
Okay. All right. I can't wait. Freeze me. Brian Walter writes in and says, I'm an animator in the games industry, and I have been for over 10 years now. Congratulations. As an animator, I'm always looking at and analyzing the motions of in-game characters, how they interact with the mechanics of the game. I'm curious if any of you have a favorite video game animation. Has a video game animation ever stood out to you and just filled you with childhood joy? Well, there are a lot of examples. My favorite animation of all time is a simple one. It's the pose that you get in Super Mario Brothers when you run really fast in one direction and then change to running in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Mario hits this cool skidding pose. It's a small little detail that I always thought looked so cool. Do you guys have any of those tiny little ones that always have popped out to you?
The triple jump in Mario 64 blew me away the first time I saw that. Just how fluid it was and how it like factored in momentum and weight. That seemed like I don't think people really realized like how big of a breakthrough that was at the time. But
yeah.
And then God of War, Kratos, back on PlayStation 1, when he just, every time he'd do his blades, it was just so hypnotic to me and beautiful, but so violent at the same time, right? Like
that's the entire game. I love they're just hypnotized.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just like, wow, that looks cool. Every time he does it, it's like, wow, that's stunning.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a simple animation, but like it's a very intricate one. Leon's animation of reloading the bolt-action rifle in Resident Evil 4.
Oh god!
It is the most intricate thing, and it's like you can literally see muscles flex in his arm when he does it.
Wait, is it just holding, reloading? What is it specifically?
It's reloading it specifically.
Reloading. Okay. I don't even remember what that looks like, but I'm sure it's great.
Remember,
I will send you a gift because it's amazing.
Please.
Remember installing, I think it was installing Metal Gear 4.
Yep.
Would just be Snake smoking for
Yeah.
like an hour.
Hell
It was
yeah.
fascinating.
Mine actually loosely ties into that, where I was thinking, like, what is the smallest little detail that always brought me satisfaction? And it's not fair because it's also connected to a satisfying part of the gameplay. But Snake in Smash Brothers Brawl, I love detonating the C4, and he does that little, now! And, like, just flicks his hand down so quick. It's always satisfying to set that stuff off. And another weird example, this is outside of character, and it's so cartoony and over the top, but I still constantly get a kick out of the Jello walls in Fortnite, like knocking that stuff down. Just it barely counts, but Miles from Eden Prairie has a question for you, Jeff Cork. How many dollars do you think you've spent on games you're never going to play? I just looked through my Steam list, and I said, wow, I probably have a month's rent with that amount of dough. Is this a big thing in your life? Buying games you never play?
Not as much as it used to be, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The house is filled with it. Do you guys still do that? Just buy stuff that you know you'll never get around to?
I don't.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know that I do it with the intention of knowing that I'll never get around to it.
Okay.
I think my heart is in the right place.
Yeah, but your pocketbook is not.
When I bought Final Fantasy Type 0, it seemed like a great idea.
Not just for the 15 demo.
And then I
but
put it in, and I was like, after 20 minutes, I was like, I'm never going to play this again.
Yeah.
I'm totally with it. Twisted Metal PS3 was one for me. I'm like, I'm buying that day one. Here we go. And it's like, what am I doing? I'm never going to play this. Right?
I own Never Dead for some reason. Like, I was looking through my games the other day, and I own a 360 copy of Never Dead still in plastic. And I'm like, why did I buy this?
What is Never Dead?
It was a Konami game where you can't die, you just like lose limbs and like
Helgeson had to review that. for us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Sounds like a treat. Nick from Bakersfield, California says, hello, crew. Yearly video game conferences such as E3 bring exciting announcements and trailers that eventually turn into actual games. However, some of these games always seem to go missing. Here are some games that I was curious about. My question is, do you have any information on these games that have gone missing? Are they canceled or what's up? Deep Down from Capcom.
Turning into a battle royale game.
Okay, great. Below from Capybara.
Turning into a battle royale.
Wow. Okay, let's go. No, Deep Down. They haven't said anything for a long time, but that was
Did that come out in Japan?
No.
No.
They've shown it multiple times in Japan. but it's been like the same basic footage, really.
And it's that weird thing where it kind of looks Dragon's Dogma-ish, like fantasy, but then there were like hints that like, oh, maybe it's secretly a sci-fi game. Wasn't there something about like Blanca calling in or some crazy crap in one of the trailers? Am I misremembering this?
Blanca used
No,
the
you're
phone.
not, you're right.
I think so. Yeah, I think Blanca's like, hello, deep down.
He's on a phone.
I
For real?
think so. Yeah.
How? Oh,
Look, I don't remember. It's a vague memory because Deep Down has not been talked about for years and years.
So
but-
like it was supposed to be their first big game for the Panta Ray engine, but that engine's basically dead now. So I don't like. Maybe it got rolled into Monster Hunter. Honestly, that could be the best thing for it.
Oh God, who knows? Below, Cappy says it's coming out 2018.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was at PAX.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
really? Oh, awesome. Wild from Wild Sheep
Oh,
Studio.
Oof.
I think Ansel's time is probably focused on Beyond Good and Evil right now, so Wild may be taking a backseat. He was posting about it on Instagram, I think, a month ago.
Oh, really?
So the game still exists. It's just it's not his main focus anymore.
It's fun to go back and look at that footage. So this is Michel Ancel, Rayman, Beyond Good and Evil man over there at Ubisoft, and he went out and this is a separate studio with Sony now where they're
Yeah.
making this game called Wild, which just looks wild. That's okay. Apparently, maybe this E3, we'll see. Crystal Dynamics and their Avengers game. I feel like that's
If it's not
It's coming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's coming.
It'll
They
be
announced
shown-
the partnership, and
if it's not at E3, then it's not ready to be shown yet. Because why would you like not show it in the midst of Avengers hype?
Yeah,
I don't
good point.
think you show it with Spider-Man coming.
no.
I think you wait until Spidey's out, and then
unless
you-
Microsoft gets it on their stage.
Oh,
You know, I don't know if
What are
Marvel
you
can
saying?
say no. I don't know anything for sure, but I can see Sony not wanting to confuse that. But
Yeah.
Microsoft's like, we need a Spider-Man of our own. Crystal D, we have that relationship because of Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Oh,
Could be.
I see what you're saying.
I don't know anything. The Final Fantasy VII remake. Oh boy.
So the
which
thing that
chapter?
happened with that game, so it was announced and it was shown, and it was being worked on by CyberConnect 2, who does like Asura's Wrath, the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games and all that.
Yeah.
At some point, Nomura stated like he was making sort of angry sounds about the game, like he wasn't happy with the way it was going, and Square Enix fired CyberConnect 2. So they've been working on it internally since then. So I assume they rebooted the entire thing.
And with Nomura even more at the helm now, it's like, oh, good God, how's this going to go? And the crazy thing is, CyberConnect 2, like, their games are fine. TL Concerto, I love from back at the PlayStation 1 days or whatever. But, like, they seem to be making progress at least. Like, they showed more of that gameplay footage than you think, you know? And the
Yeah.
idea that, let's maybe start from square one. Who knows?
I was always confused because it was going to be like episodic,
Yep.
but each episode was going to be as big as a normal RPG.
They said think of it like Final Fantasy 13 style.
All right, good luck, guys.
Still, 2020, I'm saying, first episode. Going to the mat about that.
2022.
Okay, all right, fair. Cyberpunk 2077, maybe 3 this year, we don't know.
Yeah, no, they. I think they said they're going to be at E3. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh, whose stage are they on?
I'm not sure it's a stage. I think they just have like booths and meetings. But the social media came alive recently, and like I believe they said they're ready to show the game now.
Interesting, exciting. And then the classic Rockstar's Agent.
Dead.
Dead.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nick from
I don't
Bakersfield.
know. No,
They don't like
it's-
releasing games
we'll
anymore.
see.
Lucas Adams from San Marcos, Texas says, hey, Ben and crew. Killer question here, Lucas. If you had a HUD from your point of view in real life, what would be on it? Would you keep it as minimal as possible with just your health? Or add small... Still good. Or add small quality of life features like current time, temperatures, or a compass. Would you want it to be dynamic so you aren't seeing floating bars or symbols all the time? Thanks. Keep up the good work. Thank
Minimap.
you. Minimap for the,
With
like the
GPS.
building you're
Oh,
in?
yeah.
Yeah.
It would. I would
Oh.
blink twice and then it would appear, and blink again and it disappear. But I would have the mini map. That's a good idea down
That's really
here,
good, yep.
lower left.
Uh-huh.
I would have a meter for telling me actually how hungry I am because I just
Actually.
continually graze. So I'd want that thing to like get into like yellow or red, and then it'd be like, okay, now it's time to eat.
Yeah, it has like a meter where it's like, hey, cool down, fatty, stop
Exactly.
eating.
Yeah,
throughout the
like
day. Okay.
don't need those Cheetos.
Yep,
Like,
Right.
I would want a Brian Shea indicator with like his vision cone, so I could like have a stealth mission.
Hey, did I tell you about? I started that game the other day. I don't remember anything about it.
You lose.
You know that Spyro like relationship thing of like this person disagrees with what you said, or this person likes you less now.
Oh!
I just love that.
They'll
Ooh.
remember this. Uh-oh.
You know what else would be nice on that screen is having like some sort of smell alert where it's like, hey, your breath is at this level.
Oh, yeah,
I
that'd
know
be
you
good.
can't tell.
Yeah.
but Your armpits are like this just to save you the hassle of sticking your fingers down there and sniffing it just to feel alive. Lucas, are you developing this technology? Please write into podcast@GameInformer.com because we're buying. Anyways, Bo Bakken writes in and says, "Hey, Game Informers. As spring starts to finally come around, I'm being reminded of a game pitch I've been mulling for a while."
You came to the right place.
Ready for a game pitch to Game Informer?
All right, here we go. This is Shark Tank.
Lawn mowing simulator. As dumb as it sounds, hear me out. It would be a high-score puzzle game tracking efficiency. You know the feeling when you mow yourself into a corner and have to waste precious time and fuel driving over already mowed areas to your next section?
Nope.
Well, this game would be all about plotting and executing the most efficient course around landscaping and trees, as well as reducing the overlap when mowing to your next lap. And I'm not thinking isometric mobile game. I want AAA graphics and physics, maybe even VR. Still underwhelmed, he says? Well, this last idea might make this a reality. And this is where Bo won me. I was hesitant on this email, but this idea is very good. Licensed celebrity lawns. Think about DLC pack possibilities. You could have the high score for mowing George Clooney's lawn, Bill Gates' lawn, the White House's lawn. I think I'm onto something here.
You should play Bully.
Do you mow lawns in Bully?
Yes.
Oh, maybe
But
you'd like
no
that.
celebrities involved.
Ah, damn it. I'm into that idea of celebrity lawns.
I like that a lot.
I could see it.
The rest of it, I don't know.
This game would do well in Germany. I'm
So are
very
they
convinced.
standing on their porch just going, and then like every once in a while, like, I'm George Clooney.
No, they're not even.
No.
They're not even in the game.
No.
You never see them,
Just
hear
their
from them.
Yeah.
It's just the lawn. Not even the house. Just the lawn.
Do you need to license that?
Yeah.
Is there a lawyer
You'd have
involved?
to pay to get the rights for that lawn design, probably.
Hey, this lawn looks a lot like Matthew McConaughey's lawn. Hey, just a coincidence, you know.
Yeah, you just
Look,
change the
lawns are
name.
lawns.
Any
Change the name a
resemblance.
little bit.
Yeah.
Just use satellite data to get the lawn, and then just change their name.
There we go. Oh, I would drive that lawnmower so close to those windows, try and peer into those houses, see what Bill Gates is up to in there. Show me your
Malaria.
face. Just look at the big whiteboard with the word malaria on it.
Yep.
John Struhlman from Hamburg, Germany says, "Hello, crew. What is your favorite button of a controller and why?
This is easy.
Maybe you just like the color or feel or sound of it. Or maybe the button is linked to a certain gameplay experience that always felt good. P.S. In the likely event that this mail will be voted mail of the week, just send something real nice to the writer of the second best mail because I live far away in a country called Germany. We have a solution coming up, by the way. But favorite button on any controller?
PS4 big button.
Oh, I love you, big button. Do you really like tapping that thing?
Yeah, it's super great. It's like, I wish that they had a version of it that was official, and instead of that little textured surface that it gives it, it was just the word map in really, really big letters.
Yeah, because I always forget what I should press that for.
Why am I doing that?
I thought you were going to be like a GameCube Z button kind of guy, Cork. The weird little purple dimple.
Oh, right, C.
Down on the GameCube D-pad. I like the old PlayStation start button. I like having the cool little triangle. You
Triangle?
could play with the rubber a lot. It was very
pretty good.
satisfying. Yeah. What do you guys think? Imran?
I don't know if it counts as a button, but like the kind of like D-pad stick for the Neo Geo Pocket Color.
Calling all nerds. Here we go. Neo Geo Pocket Color.
It felt so amazing. It is like the perfect like handheld fighting game thing.
Ooh. All right. I've never felt it, but I'm sure it's great.
I would say either X or A are probably the most universally awesome buttons. Use them a lot.
Boring.
But the new Xbox controller with like the weird 3-line hamburger and then the 2 box. Nobody knows what to call these.
No.
Like even developers are like, hit that one. Yeah.
Press 2 boxes to start.
It's like, what are those?
Yeah.
How could you
Generations-
drop that ball that much?
It's crazy. Generation's almost over, and everyone's still confused about those buttons and why we should press options to start on a PlayStation.
They deserve
these days.
props for that.
It's a mess. I ran into this terrible cycle where I got like this Xbox One third-party controller. I forget. I start with an S. I forget what the brand is officially, but it has like detachable analog sticks and D-pads and stuff. And because it's like magnetic and detachable, now every time I'm playing.
Scuff?
I think it is a scuff thing. Yeah, thank you. So every time I'm playing a PC game with this controller, I will just like during cutscenes, I will just like rotate the analog stick. It's just this weird reflex. For 40 hours in Ni no Kuni 2, I would just rotate this stick. And now going back and playing God of War, it feels gross not to be able to tear apart my controller piece by piece for every time I'm bored in God of War, which is never.
You should play with like one of those perfection games on your lap. You want
Perfection
little
games?
shapes to play with.
Oh, that's a fun idea.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Just don't turn on the buzzer.
Just don't turn on the
So
buzzer.
the board goes exploding in your face.
Exactly.
Yeah, all right. Taylor Owens from Vermontville, Michigan. Very silly name for
It's like
Vermontville.
little Canada, Minnesota.
Oh, he said this Devil's Country as well. Vermontville. He says, "Dear video game information people, that's us. Last week's podcast really got me thinking. What do you think is the worst joke ever told on the podcast?"
Wait a second. What made him think of that?
Honestly, we had several emails saying that last week's episode was very funny,
Uh-oh.
which is nice. Usually it's just complaints. No. Taylor has a suggestion here. He says, "I think it was the time that Reiner said, I took a," and Shay cut him off with the word dump. It was a joke. It was a joke so bad, Ben Reeves had to halt the podcast, or maybe it's me, I don't know. Had to halt the podcast to stop Shay from trying to make any jokes or saying anything at all.
What was that radar you needed with Brian Shea?
Exactly.
Take a dump. Good stuff. Oh, actually, we had another one. Well, we'll get to it. Jacob Wilson, killer question here. He says, in 2014, as part of Wii U coverage, Kotaku and Miyamoto asked what game was most wanted on the new hardware. Remember this? It was a weird little thing. Pokemon Snap came in at number 2. What are the odds of Pokemon Switch, including Pokemon Snap style gameplay, as a side activity?
As a side activity, 0% probably.
Ooh,
Because-
it's in Sun and Moon though.
Yeah,
and it
but
sucks,
like
but
As a
A very
full,
weird like side thing that like you want to use 4 or 5 times total.
Yeah.
I think.
it's bad. But Reiner, what's your theory here?
I just think you'd make a full new game. It would be pretty easy and cheap to make a good new Pokemon Snap. Why not do it?
Yeah, they really are throwing money away, especially because
Seriously.
I think it was the team that made Detective Pikachu, if I remember correctly. They made Pokemon Snap, so in theory, they're now freed up a little bit more with that game being released, and maybe
Or it's a trap to start a sentence talking about Nintendo by saying the obvious thing to do would be, but it really does seem like the obvious thing would be some kind of AR enhanced thing, at which point you're just like stepping over the same territory that Pokemon Go covers, right?
That would be like a huge way to reinvent Pokemon Go, is like, forget Next Generation, which is exciting for Pokemon Go players like Reiner, but just the idea of we have this whole new photography-based feature where like the leader of your clan, wherever they are in that game, can like judge your photographs and stuff.
Yeah. I don't think it would be too much Me Too, trying to capitalize on Pokemon Go's success if you have that Snap history to fall back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should do it.
Gotcha. Ben and GI Crew. It's Chris from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Woo woo. Is Microsoft moving more towards a Steam type thing and instead of having a console? Simple question.
I think it's more Netflix app
And
for
then
console or approach to games for console.
Right, but the hardware you feel like Microsoft will stick around for a while
yeah.
instead of just
They want to
saying
be
it's
on your
PC.
TV and your monitor, right?
Instead of just a PC being
Yeah,
repurposed in
your
some
hearts.
confusing way. Yeah. Also, he says, P.S. I'm not from Chattanooga. I just wanted to hear Ben say choo choo. I'm really from Portland, Tennessee.
Now you have to do your Portland thing.
I got nothing to say about Portland. They're a spooky
So that
ghost.
answers that other question. What was the dumbest joke on the podcast?
Dakota writes in and says, hey, first question. I'm pretty sure JV mentioned on Twitter that he'd be traveling with the USO to Kuwait and Germany to talk about gaming in the military. Being in the Air Force myself, as well as a good portion of my family being current or prior military, the subject has always been really interesting to me. I was wondering if this was in fact happening, and if so, would JV come out of the podcast to talk about it once he returns? Yes,
It happened.
it happened. He went to Kuwait and Germany. He is writing a feature for an upcoming issue
Yep.
of the magazine. Do you know, Reiner, if it's the next issue?
I believe it's the next issue.
Okay.
Well, for you, the listeners, it'll be 2 issues from now.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so probably when that feature...
2 issues after Spidey.
Okay, when that feature is live in the magazine, as we say, then we'll probably have him on to talk about it. I think it'd be weird
Yeah.
to do sooner. It'd be nice to like promote
Yeah.
the feature as we're talking about it. But yes, it's fascinating, and I can't wait to talk to him all about it. Second question, they are looking... This fellow is going to be separated from his lady, and they're looking for an online co-op game to play that's not
Separated by
action
distance,
focused.
not
That's
splitting
right.
up.
That's right. And he said, we really wanted to play Lego games. Turns out there's no online co-op
No.
anymore in Lego. If I'm correct, is it just Lego Indiana Jones 2 that had it? There was like one anomaly.
there's like a
think
weird
that's the only one.
outlier.
Yeah, that's so bizarre. So looking for some sort of co-op online game. Check out A Way Out. You only have to buy it once.
Mhm.
It's like 6 hours. I'm only halfway through, but I'm enjoying it as a weird little experience. I think you guys will get a kick out of it.
Remember that time that on Xbox 360 you could party watch things in Netflix with your friends. I think your avatars would be there too, and you could like talk while watching stuff.
Yeah.
They should bring that back because
That was cool.
that'd be a fun way to hang out.
I think it was a licensing thing that they couldn't do it anymore. Like, you could only use it for, I don't know, it was some weird legal thing that Netflix or movie producers were not happy about.
Yeah. Hey, how dare you talk over our entertainment? We worked very hard on this.
This isn't cooperative. It is competitive, but you do play with teammates. But if you haven't played Overwatch, play Overwatch, become a squad. That will be endless hours of entertainment for you guys.
They have tried Overwatch. She
Yeah, it
says
says it on
that's the one exception that they play. But even though
Is that really on there?
Yep.
Oh,
They said, but it's
never
lower
mind.
to
Just
stretch.
play Overwatch.
Yeah, just play that forever then. Yeah, you'll be happy. Congratulations on a happy life. Sincerely, Jay from Nova Scotia, Canada. He says, hello, crew. I enjoy watching the show. So I'm kind of getting burned out on the whole open world, choose your own adventure style that every game seems to be going to. It's kind of what's keeping me from getting into Far Cry 5, and it really ruined Breath of the Wild for me. Oh, insane. Is anyone else kind of feeling the same way? Like, are we ever going to go back to the engaging, curated single-player stories we used to have, like in Half-Life 2 and the old Call of Duties?
Get a PlayStation. That's all Sony makes.
Well, yeah, but
That an open world. But yeah, I mean, God of War, Last of Us, Uncharted.
for sure. And specifically, what's interesting about this email is that's like a huge thing that I'm sure we'll talk about in the Game Club for God of War coming up next week. Tune in, everybody. Send in thoughts. Podcast@GameInformer.com. But that's it. It's just like, oh my God, it feels refreshing to have this crazy production value assigned to very beautifully curated little levels and segments and not just embracing the open world trend. Really, it's awesome. Do you miss it at all, Imran?
I mean, Bethesda kind of keeps that stuff on lock
Yeah,
now.
they do
like,
too.
That's pretty much all they do these days is single-player narrative games.
No, but the open world thing is what they don't want. So Bethesda is just
Then,
nonsense.
did you buy
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein?
There we go.
Dishonored.
Yeah. Kind of sort of evil within, even though
Yeah.
the second one got bigger and bigger. Okay, what do you think about this? Poor Rick from Ireland. Hello. He says, hello, guys. Am I crazy or are there a lot of similarities between Metal Gear Solid 5 and Breath of the Wild? What do you think about these comparisons
All
from
right, let's
Mr.
hear it.
Ireland here?
Let's hear it.
Both protagonists are in a coma before the events of the game. Check. First open world entry in their respective series. Checkish. Both games have large elements of the story which can be ignored or missed. Sure. Both have enemy camps scattered around the map. Okay. Day-night cycle affects enemy activity. Sure. Metal Gear Solid has its, int scope. Breath of the Wild has the binocular function on the Sheikah slate. Okay. Shield surfing, box surfing.
Yeah.
Using an amiibo in Breath of the Wild drops a chest from the sky, not unlike a supply drop in Metal Gear Solid 5. Is he the only person who sees this comparison?
No, I think Kojima should get royalties on Breath of the Wild.
I think so too. Make it right. Harris from Chicago says, hello, Ben. Big fan of the show. Thank you. Is it just me or is game text in games this generation too small?
It's getting small.
It sucks. God of War, number one complaint. I feel like I'm going blind. I have to squint at my TV, which is like 4 feet away.
Yeah.
Make
The
it
Monster
bigger.
Hunter was super tiny too. They had to patch that.
What is it? Is it just developers working on monitors so close they just don't know what the average living room is like?
Or it's 4K now. Remember when Dead Rising, the first one came out, and they did the HD small text, but people on SD TVs couldn't see it.
That's why I
like
bought
really
an
couldn't read
HDTV.
it.
Yeah.
So I thought we got over that at that point where it was
Yeah.
like, don't do this, dummies. But I guess we're back to square one again on that. So don't do that.
Fix
Just make it bigger.
Fix it.
Or make it an option. Like,
Make
are
it
you
an
on a-
option.
Do you want 4K tiny text, or do you want are you on a 1080 or something?
At the beginning of the game when you start up for the first time, adjust the slider to the darkness so you can barely see the logo. Okay.
And then text size.
Adjust the thing so you can read it.
Yeah.
I'm sure UI designers would have a panic attack of like, it's not that easy.
And not my problem.
You hear that, UI designers?
Yeah.
Take them down a peg. Nick from Park Ridge, Illinois says, hey, I'm just checking in on Shay's hair. What condition is it in? How's the pH level? Is it showing signs of stress?
It needs to be rechlorinated, but we're doing all right.
There we go. Oh my gosh. Aaron in Maryland writes in and says, Dear GI crew, after going to see Ready Player One last week, my 10-year-old son made a comment to me that I thought was a bit heartbreaking. He told me he didn't love me. No. He told me that he didn't think he'd be able to revisit some of his favorite games when he's older because they mostly have online components and their servers would be long shut down.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great point and realized that he won't have an Super Nintendo Classic type of experience to look forward to. What games do you think you'll be nostalgic for in 20 years that you won't be able to play? It is sad for the son and young people all over the place.
Yeah.
I thought of you in Overwatch, Reiner. Do you think 20 years from now, Blizzard will make it playable? 20 years?
This thing's still going to be going, man.
Yeah, okay. Still waiting for Overwatch 2?
Yep, they'll have classic Overwatch cards. People like OG rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Farrah could still fly.
Not locking off heroes.
Well, yeah,
I want it
let's
free
think
form.
about that. 20 years from now. So you got your Last of Us, God of Wars.
Sure.
I guess all those open world games you could kind of like Zelda's, right? Like
Still go
throw
back to
those
'em?
on disc.
Oh, for the classic?
Digital, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Mario Kart's still a thing?
Yeah, I guess so. So it's not too bad. I think of like I still love Rock Band. And the idea of 20 years from now, I feel like those PS3 instruments I have are already starting to break down.
Yeah,
20 years from
yeah.
now, I'll just be playing with a skeleton of a guitar.
But to that point, all competitive games that have online, those won't be playable unless they bring up servers for them, right? Like make dedicated servers for a lot of these games.
Not to mention your kid and like the nostalgic games or the games that'll be nostalgic for them like on mobile. Like, see ya.
Yeah.
Goodbye, nostalgia. Film yourself playing them now, everybody.
Yeah, seriously.
Ugh, yuck.
I mean, it's
scary.
kind of a question of like certain aspects of games too. Like, are you going to be able to see the ending to Asura's Wrath in 20 years? Probably not.
Because that was weird DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great point for sure. Okay, Tyler Barrett says, hello, Ben, and the forcibly interjected kitschy band name. Oh, hello. On last week's podcast, you guys were saying a lot of sarcastic things regarding Blizzard announcements. Well, rather the lack of announcements. One that comes to mind is regarding Diablo 4. Dan said that he did not see anyone go or in and out of that room, which led you to believe that no one was actually working on Diablo. This is obviously sarcastic, and you guys were just having fun. Yes. My question is this. Have you ever said anything to the nature of the internet that was taken so wildly out of context that you just had to go and defend yourself? Be it on followers on Twitter or family members. For example, I once shared a story on Facebook about McDonald's using human baby meat in their burgers. It was a very well-written satirical piece to the point that one of my friends had to out the post due to the staggering number of dense individuals on the internet.
Regular Jonathan Swift over here.
You guys have that where, Reiner, I'd imagine you have the most experience with this, of things
Oh,
just
yeah.
wildly
Saying
being
dumb
taken.
things. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
me. We had Rockstar Games in town, and they brought by Red Dead 1.
Okay.
And I, for whatever reason, was just being an idiot and said, yeah, Rockstar was here. I think they just showed me the next GTA, as in Red Dead being similar to GTA, open world, all that stuff.
Okay.
And that just blew the internet up like you wouldn't believe. Like an hour later, it was like news stories everywhere, and like I had like thousands of comments.
You
I was
said,
like,
I think. Like, you think you made it pretty definitive if you actually saw it?
so then I was like, oh, I better apologize to like Rockstar, and they're just like, oh, we're loving this. Like
Oh,
that was
really?
hilarious.
That's what they're like.
So yeah, that was a dumb thing I said. I learned a lesson.
Yeah. It's always tough to know, like, when we have a cover reveal coming up, like, how much to tease it. Reiner, I think you're in the camp of, like, oh, teasing or, like, generating hype. It's a little bit fun. But it's so easy for people, and you can read it in the forums and on Twitter all the time, people just reading so far into things. Like, there was a Reset Era thread that I think we were laughing about a couple days ago, where it's like, oh, Alex Ross is kind of vaguely working on art that kind of looks like a cowboy. And people are like, Game Informer's cover artist is working on a Red Dead Redemption 2 cover.
Game Informer's cover.
Yeah, Alex Ross, one of the famous comic book artists of all time.
right.
Yeah. Sure, everybody. Whatever you want to hear. It's so bizarre. Imran, do you have a lot of bad experience with that, or is it just fun?
It's mostly fun. There was a thing, like, to speak to that Alex Ross thing of, like, when the 300 covers came out and there was that Metroid cover and people were going crazy thinking we had Prime coverage.
Yeah.
And, like, somebody just, like, straight up says, like, I'm pretty sure this is Metroid Prime. And I responded saying, no, it's not. And the guy goes, I don't believe you.
It's about celebrating the greatest games. That was so weird that people thought it would be bundled in. Maybe we blew it by not trying to make those like some sort of big detail in every issue that tied in with the cover, but no, it's just about Super Metroid, everybody. Very weird. Sam from Wisconsin has an interesting question. Here's a topic. The year is 2118 right now. Cork.
Okay.
The video
I'm
game
here.
industry has continued along a similar path to what we know currently. Game Informer is on its millionth issue or whatever. Reiner's a head in a jar. What is the first video game series to reach 100 installments? And what does the 100th game in that series look like? Does Final Fantasy 100 have random battles? Does Call of Duty 100 still have a forgettable campaign mode? Yeah, according to Activision, forgettable apparently now. Did Half-Life 100 finally finish up the story? It's Sam from Wisconsin.
I think we might be closer to 100 on Final Fantasy games than you might think.
I looked this up, and according to Google search, the number one thing is this Music Magpie blog. They rounded these up. Final Fantasy, it's at 80 entries.
Yeah.
If you include spin-offs and weird outliers. 2 have cracked 100, including all the games in the series. 2 have cracked the 100 number. What do you think it is?
Wow.
Does anything with Mario count?
Yes, it does.
Then I would say Mario.
Mario's at 119 games. If
Is
you
that
count
number 1?
Absolutely everything. Yep. And number 2 has 103 games.
Sonic?
Nope. Think of Game Informer this year. January cover.
I can't think back that far.
Mega Man!
Really?
103.
What is he doing?
Battle networking.
Yeah, a lot of networking. I guess there's so many weirdo mobile games and whatnot as well.
So if they're counting like ports, though, that
see,
doesn't count.
Yeah, ports I don't think do count. I assume that they aren't counting.
I'm just
those in
thinking
this.
there's 15 core Final Fantasies numbered ones,
Right.
but then you have all those spin-offs.
Yeah,
There has to be at least a couple dozen of those, like, right?
for sure.
Well,
And
what about like Madden 2018?
well, that's the 2018 Madden.
Exactly.
Everybody knows. Yeah,
Check and mate.
Madden 7. Always very nostalgic about. I love
Didn't
that
they start numbering Maddens at some point and then stopped like immediately?
they did the 25th anniversary, whereas Madden 25, if that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah, that would be it.
Yeah, that was a one-off year. But I love the idea of the entries or the series that have the numbers. Like, are we going to see a Final Fantasy 100?
They'll reboot it before it gets there.
But there's
That's what's
nothing-
happening now, right? Like, it's
I
like
guess.
Doom. It's just Doom again.
What year are we going to see Final
Battlefront.
Fantasy? Just Final Fantasy again.
2025.
Wow, that's soon.
Yeah, prepare yourself.
Do you think that Final Fantasy is the series that does count the entries like that? That's the highest? Can you think of a series that has a number higher than 15?
Where's King of Fighters?
Ooh.
13. 14.
Oh, coming up. Okay. Is Final Fantasy the king?
That counts numbers?
Yeah.
I think so.
Does Flight Simulator or anything like that count?
That's years.
Yeah, they went 2 years.
Right in podcastgameinformer.com. There's
Yeah,
a
let
series
us know.
that's higher.
How did Ben blow it?
Please.
Be mean as possible.
Yes, please let me know. Dude, there's a demon. Writes in and says, "Hey, Sea of Thieves, how can Rare and Microsoft keep it relevant?"
Add more mission
Keep it
types.
relevant?
Keep it relevant. Mission types.
Yeah.
Just trickle them out one a week, baby. Just
Yeah,
keep it
I mean,
firing.
they announced their like path forward. And it was like starting in May, and it's like, well, that's too late.
Yeah.
Like, you got to strike now. You got to start giving some stuff now. But
Ugh. Yeah, maybe an expansion in the fall, something in a Taken King-esque way. You know, that could be interesting to see.
it's
if they
got to be
do
like
it.
Epic's doing with Fortnite, right? Like they're just pumping stuff out, events, different modes that come and go,
Yeah.
stuff you can buy. Like they're doing it right.
Well,
Sea of Thieves Battle Royale.
oh my gosh. Durza Demon himself beat you to that, Imran. He says, here's how they nail it. Sea of Thieves, free-to-play Battle Royale. And then he goes into a lot of details about how he structures this thing. The interesting thing is there's a game that came out on Steam last week called Maelstrom, which is kind of like isometric ship battling, but it is really a Sea of Thieves Battle Royale. It's just ship combat. And the fun thing is I was looking at like Steam user reviews, trying to guess what game it was. And in that, everyone was like, F you, Sea of Thieves, this is so much better. It's become like this weird home for like everyone abandoning Sea of Thieves. Everyone's just going to this Maelstrom game and talking about how awesome it is.
Well, here you go.
Yeah.
All of
if
the
you're-
Avatar gear that Rare made for the Avatars on 360, put that in Sea of Thieves.
Oh,
Love it.
smart.
You could be
Smart.
RoboCop.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a dinosaur pet.
Little tiny robot from Iron Brigade.
Oh my
Perfect.
gosh, everyone's favorite.
If you're Ubisoft, how do you show Skull and Bones this year? Like,
Yeah.
because it's right after Sea of Thieves came out.
Well,
This one's fun.
this one will have seasons. Yeah. Cade Marks writes in, the subject line of this email is enticing. It says, the mysterious past of Leo Vader.
Uh-oh.
Cade Marks says, I found this interesting video on YouTube and decided I'd share it. What do you think about this? And I clicked through this link video, Leo, little video. and-
later.
Am I on 60 Minutes right now?
Yes, with the bumbling Anderson Cooper. So I click this link. It's got 143 views. And it's just a bunch of photos of you, Ken Burnsing, zooming in on you while Linkin Park's Numb plays. And it's just awkward photos of you from high school, and it says, like, he gets all the babes on the screen and, like, big flashing text. What is that?
A friend of mine, Sam Snow, made that for me for my birthday, I believe.
It's very dumb. It made me laugh a lot because that song is so stupid over those images. Congratulations, Leo. People are digging in, finding your dirty shame secrets on YouTube.
Hey, Ben Hansen.
Yeah.
Since you bring that up,
Yeah.
I was digging through your past,
Oh, good.
and I found a video, an animated film
Oh, no.
made by you about a squirrel, a flying squirrel.
That's true.
Tell me about this.
Oh, my gosh. I forget what that's called, but it's on my YouTube channel. That was like my first animated computer animated project. I did like claymation and stuff in high school.
Oh, CG?
Yeah, I'm talking CG. I made it in Flash, I think like freshman year of college, and it's to like the Battlefield 1942 theme.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like repurposing like a flying squirrel if it was like a fighter jet.
He's like fighting a
He's-
bird.
He's fighting a woodpecker.
Yeah.
I think there's one very clever scene. You'll love this, Cork, right?
Thank you.
Where there's like an aircraft carrier that the squirrel's taking off of, but it's a pelican's bill, which is very fun. And then he eventually goes underwater, and they have like, are they depth charges? Like the World War II big explosive
Like
spiky
spiky-
things on
yeah,
the
yeah.
chains? Is that, except they're puffer fish.
Oh, Ben.
Oh,
Ben.
This is a freshwater setting. I didn't believe it.
Yeah, look, the scientific accuracy of that YouTube video from 2006 does not hold up. Logan from what are you doing, Ryder? Why'd you look at that? How'd you stumble across that?
It was recommended.
That's kind of
not
algorithm.
the video, but your channel. And I was like, oh, Hansen has one. So I clicked it, and
Oh,
it went
no.
back to like 20, I don't remember, like 10 years ago. And I was
Yeah.
like, what is this? It's like a squirrel. And I was like, oh, no.
I think it's badass. Logan from Louisville, Kentucky writes in and says, hello, Ben and crew. A few weeks ago, another listener had you all list off the first game you came up you had ever played in a given genre. I was having fun driving along and thinking of my first games too. Up came first-person shooters. I thought a little bit, and the first FPS I remember playing was Banjo-Tooie's multiplayer. I was thinking, no one else is going to say that. 0. Then Leo Vader chimes in, Banjo-Tooie. I thought this was hysterical, and I shouted in my car, my man! Except I didn't say my man. I said, my son! Leo Vader's not my son. Leo and I are close to the same age. I actually do have a son. He's not Leo. Am I good?
What was all that?
Leo, is he good?
100%.
All right, cool. Alan writes in, this is the Leo fan page, which has become a big recurring email theme, by the way, Leo. You should be very proud. Alan writes in and says, hey, Ben and Career, wanted to send a quick shout out to Leo Vader for including the original Game Informer show music in the brief breakdown between 2 interviews on the Jurassic Park episode. It took me backwards. Welcome to here.
That was you, right?
Yeah, that's just for any confusion. Leo's in the booth during the podcast, but I am the one editing them. But thank you. Leo does a lot of great work. Check
Good
out
job,
the Spider-Man
Leo.
videos.
It was my idea.
Nice touch.
to do that.
That's right.
Very thoughtful.
Old school fan. A lot of people were yelling Hubert in the car. Thank you. Blah, 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 blah. Given the following matchups of game series, says Mitchell Fulton, which do you think is the least likely to ever get a sequel? You ready? This is Mitchell's breakdown here. Which is least likely to get a sequel? KOTOR or Mass Effect?
KOTOR.
Yeah.
They were both going to get one.
Really?
Mhm.
Which is least likely, though, Reiner?
I think we'll see KOTOR first.
Okay, so Mass Effect's less likely to get a sequel at this point. Portal, Half-Life. Less likely to get a sequel.
Half-Life.
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 Portal.
Wow. Sims or League of Legends? League of Legends.
League, yeah.
Yeah, of
League,
course. All right,
yeah.
it's got to be. Overwatch or World of Warcraft
World of Warcraft.
is less likely?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Elder Scrolls versus Fallout.
Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls.
Is less likely
Well,
for
I
a
think,
sequel?
I think we're getting both, but I think we're getting Fallout first.
Okay, interesting. Star Wars Battlefront versus Metal Gear Solid. Tricky.
What does a Metal Gear Solid sequel mean?
6.
So not Survive 2?
Not Survive 2. It has to
Star
be
Wars
6.
Or a remake or
Star
anything
Wars
like that?
Battlefront.
Battlefront's less likely?
Yeah.
You don't think they're making a 3?
I think they will, but I think we'll see Metal Gear 6 first.
That's interesting. I would disagree, but that's a good one. Witcher versus Uncharted.
Ooh. These are really good.
Yeah.
Uncharted, less likely.
I think
Witcher 4 will come eventually.
They said that was their last one, at least on that cover story we did way back in the day.
They said it'll be Geralt's last one.
Ah, maybe that's the distinction. Okay, interesting. Mario versus Zelda. Least likely to get a sequel.
God, you see, they're both likely, but
Yeah,
you got to
exactly.
pick which one. Like, I think we'll see Zelda first.
I think we will too.
Yeah.
All right, now we're getting to it. Here we go. Overblood versus Martian Gothic.
Oh,
Well,
Martian
there's-
Gothic.
Yeah, Martian Gothic least likely because the Overblood community, there's people making a sequel.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't think I know how this goes. It looks like a
yeah, they keep
Unreal or
posting
something?
like, yeah, someone's actively making a game.
Does Hino know, the old director?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
They're
someone's
even
gonna tell
looking
that
at
too.
like buying the rights to it or something.
They should
Dirt
make sure
cheap.
they do that first. You know how the story ends. It's not good.
Okay, what do you guys like? Email of the week. And,
Oh, you know what we should do?
yeah,
Check this out.
yeah.
That German guy. 'Cause then we slide to position 2,
Yeah.
and he still gets the credit
Yeah,
for being email of the week.
that
That's
was pretty
interesting.
good.
Do you
He's
remember?
very giving.
Do you remember what the email was?
I don't recall.
Doesn't matter.
You just like the German
Super-
guy?
He's from a
Super
country
giving.
called Germany, he said. I remember that.
I like that little animations. I thought that was cute. I like the HUD in real life question.
HUD real life's good.
This is the German guy. He was the button. The
Ah,
hardest button
See,
to button.
that was such a good question.
It was pretty
very
good.
question.
Okay, here's the catch though, Cork. That's an international listener, and
Right, and he specifically said,
to
if
give
he
it to
wins,
the second.
give it to the second person.
Okay, so let's give it to him,
Yep.
and then the second person
However,
would be
I don't. That's
Little
the-
animations.
Little Animations. He had
Little-
a very lovely email. You're totally
Yeah.
right. That's
HUD
Brian
is really
Walter.
good, but this brought us into the games.
That's
the
right.
history of games. It was very
You're
good.
totally right. All right, that's Brian Walter. Congratulations. Email of the week. We'll ship you out something real nice. Maybe for the last time. We have a replacement strategy in mind for the international listeners,
To
Cork.
say it's not so nice.
What do you think about the replacement that I spitballed with you earlier?
I don't know how you're going to get that much pus.
All right, we'll figure it out. Congratulations, Brian Walter. For now, stay tuned. We have a wonderful chat with Game Informer's outgoing batch of interns. We wish them all the best, but you can learn all about Game Informer's internship program, what it's like to actually be in this office, stuff they've written that they're proud of, all that great stuff. So stay tuned for that. And welcome back to the Game Informer Show. I'm still here, and I'm joined by our wonderful batch of Game Informer interns. We have Robbie Key,
Hey there, guys.
we have Joey Thurmond,
What's up?
and we have John Bowman.
Hello.
Welcome, you guys. You guys are leaving us.
I know, it's so sad, right?
Is that voluntary or involuntary?
Well, we're actually getting fired today. That was what the ceremony right before this was for.
It's true, yeah. So today was the big intern goodbye pizza day, where everybody gathers around, eats an unhealthy amount of pizza, and Andy waxes poetic about the game industry for a while, right? Is that basically how it went?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andy did have a meeting though, so we didn't get as much wax poetic as we.
Oh, you know what
would
it was? I was in the other part of the office, and I heard Andy talking loudly, and I assumed, he's imparting timeless wisdom to the interns.
Yeah, and talking about grits too. That's very
Yes.
important.
Oh, really?
We talked,
Big part
as a
of that.
fellow Houstonian, we talked about all things Texas
Oh,
for like
that's
half
beautiful.
the time.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Where are y'all from? So we got Houston here for Robbie.
Houston,
Joey,
Texas.
where are you from?
North Carolina.
God's country. John?
in Chicago.
Wow. We got a bunch of questions from the audience, Twitter community, Facebook group, the Overblood Facebook group.
Great.
And one of them is related to this a little bit. Derek here, gym leader Derek on Twitter, wants to know, is Minnesota the best or is Minnesota the best?
I believe all the above.
Okay.
If I had to go with an answer.
Well,
yeah.
the people are super nice here. It's just like the weather's really surprising though.
Surprising. Here's the thing though, Joey. Yesterday you came over to play board games in my house, and I looked out my window and I saw you leaving your car to walk into the house, and you weren't wearing a coat. You're wearing a t-shirt. And it's still extremely cold here in Minnesota.
Rookie
If
mistake.
it goes below like 35 or 30, I'm gonna put on a coat. But like above that, it's chilly.
I bet it was like
chilly.
34 degrees when you were playing games.
See, but here's the other thing. Like, if you're just going to walk to a house for like 5 seconds, why do you need a coat for that?
Exactly.
You're about to be inside and it's about to be
Come
warm
on,
and
Ben.
toasty.
Because then when you go back to your car, you go back to a cold coat.
I'm not gonna put it back on.
Oh,
yeah, that's what the
got air
heaters are for.
conditioning.
What takes a while for the... All right, look, you guys have been here for a while. I understand you're not used to the intricacies of Minnesota, but yeah, how long have you guys actually been here now? When was your first day? Do you remember?
My first day was January 10th.
Okay. All right. So roughly that time span. So
Yeah.
you've learned a lot, you've loved a lot, you've lost a lot. Is that the general arc of being a Game Informer intern?
Pretty much.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
It's a saga.
Does it feel like
Yeah.
it? Does it feel like it flew by?
Yes and no. I mean, we had to update our work logs, which is, what we give to Ben and Jeff Cork, who are our fearless leaders.
Right. There's Ben Reeves, Jeff Cork, they run the intern program. Yep.
Yeah, we had to go back through and we had to note every single thing that we did. And some stuff felt like it was, 5 minutes ago, and other things were like, oh, wow, I did this about 2 centuries ago.
Right. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
It's just the concept of time is lost sometimes, but it's gone by really fast.
It's
too.
a Minnesota thing.
Yeah.
The concept of time is weird.
It gets lost in the snow.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys want to dive into your gaming histories a little bit?
Sure.
Okay, we have big questions here to kind of set the table for you folks.
All right.
Gerard Weish wants to know, what's the video game that made you realize you love the medium? Which one was like, you could dabble a little bit as a kid, but the one that made you go, aha, someday I would like to work at Game Informer as an intern. Maybe not that direct, but made you fall in love with the thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Someone who has a more quick answer, want to go first?
Yeah, I guess I'll go. For me, it was Super Mario World. I didn't have a Super Nintendo at the time, but my neighbor did, and I was a pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Sneaky little kid. I would learn how to pick the lock in my neighbor's garage so I could sneak into their basement and play Super Mario World.
Really? Did they ever walk in and catch you?
Oh, all the time. And I would just sit there and be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Did they chase you to the room with a broom?
No, but apparently, like, my neighbor would get in trouble for me being there.
After you're breaking and entering for the 16th time, don't your parents say, "Hey, let's just buy him a Super Nintendo"?
You would think.
Yeah, I'm sure they're lovely.
I mean, it was a
people in
good
their own
system.
way. It's a hell of a system. Joey, you got an answer, man?
I mean, my love for gaming just kind of has been forever. Like since I played Spyro 2 and Crash Bandicoot. But
How old were you when you played Spyro 2?
About 5 or 6 years old.
Oh wow,
I think.
okay.
Yeah, but I guess the first video games that made me realize oh wow, this medium can be something really special are games like Assassin's Creed 2, Uncharted
interesting.
2. Around that time, that's when I really started considering
Rock
game
Band
journalism.
2, Mass Effect 2, Gears
All
of
the
War 2.
sequels.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
all the
era
sequels.
of
Everything, too.
sequels. I understand it. Really, what like Assassin's Creed 2 specifically? What do you think elevated the medium with that one?
For that one, I think it was the storytelling.
Yeah.
And just how much it innovated and moved the series forward. I was just really impressed with what Ubisoft Montreal did with that one. And I loved everything about it. And I got the Platinum Trophy and everything.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, that was definitely a major game that I loved.
Yeah. Robbie, what about you, man? What's the first one that made you fall in love with the medium?
Oh boy. I kind of have 3 answers really. The first video game I ever played was Super Mario 64 when I was merely 4 years old. I was apparently really good at erasing files without realizing it.
Oh,
so,
no.
Yeah, they weren't too happy about that.
Who's they?
Oh, my parents and my sister, who...
They were playing it too?
Yeah, when they were playing
Oh
it. Yeah.
my god.
And then I guess Ocarina of Time would be another game because I played through that, gosh, I don't know, 7 or 8 times. And every time I feel like I just kind of get lost in that world. It's like endless exploration to me in a way, even though it's so much smaller in scale than Breath of the Wild is.
Yeah.
And the third one for me would definitely have to be Metal Gear Solid 3 because I played that when I was a junior in high school. And this was actually around the time Hurricane Ike hit.
Okay.
Yeah, we go through all these hurricanes in Texas. And
Not familiar.
yeah, I had never played a game with, that was so cinematic before. I didn't realize that Metal Gear had these 15+ minute cutscenes.
So it was the first Metal Gear you played?
That was the first
3?
Metal Gear game I played. Yeah, thank God it was the prequel to everything too.
Well, but the tricky thing is that game starts out with, which, God, I forget how they phrase it, but which Metal Gear do you like best? You choose what mask you're wearing, and where you're just what the hell is this? What is this dumb Raiden mask? What is happening?
Yeah,
I made the terrible mistake of making Guns of the Patriots my
Ooh,
first Metal
That's
Gear.
the worst.
I know.
That's the worst one to start on.
That's the epilogue for the series, essentially. Was
Yeah.
it more confusing than the average player's
I
playthrough
had
then?
no idea what was going on, really.
Well, especially if that's your first entry in the series, and to kick it off with those TV shows that you can skip through and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell is this series
Yeah.
at this point?
I was like, it's a fun game.
Yeah.
I just don't really know what's going
Yeah.
on, though.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean that's confusing to people even who do know what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, real quick here. Party Bill has the easiest question of all time. Forget first game. Maybe you've already tipped your hand a little bit. Favorite game of all time, John.
Oh man.
Favorite game of all time? Probably BioShock.
Wow. Okay, Joey.
I think it's an impossible question
Yep,
to answer.
yep.
But I always go with Super Mario Galaxy.
Okay, Robbie.
Yeah, like Joey, it's an impossible question to answer, but I typically lean toward Metal Gear Solid 3.
Wow, there we go. Sergio Jr. says, why can't I sleep since discovering David Cage was born on 6/9/69? Which I did not double check that to see if it's true, but that's a very funny idea. David Cage being born on 69/69. Anyways, Sergio, there's a real question here as well. What's the oldest game you enjoy playing without any nostalgia? This is a fun, good question. Like, not one you played as a kid, but have you ever gone back, nostalgia side, and said, wait, this holds up well? Like one for me recently. Well, maybe like, in high school, it was Balloon Fight, right? No nostalgia for that. I was like, this game's amazing. I hadn't really played Joust. And then recently, I think it was just like last summer, I got into like Robotron 2084. And it's like, that's a game that is still super fun to play, and I have zero nostalgia for it. Can you guys think of any weird outliers like that?
Super Metroid.
Oh, no nostalgia, and you played it when?
I never played it as a kid. I didn't play any Nintendo games as a kid. I grew up on PlayStation. So I played that probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the best 2D platformers of all time.
You still say it holds up just as well?
Oh, yes. Most
Really?
definitely. Oh, yeah. It's easily one of the greatest games of all time. As, the issue 300 established.
That's right. I forget what number it is exactly. Probably in the teens?
Yeah. 12,
something
14,
like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's definitely worthy of that spot.
Yeah. Was it fun to be here during the top 300 party and all that? You guys helped out hauling stuff around for us a little bit. We should also give you a plug for, you guys are often in the podcast booth when Leo's like, oh, I have big boy work to do. So you guys have helped out switching to podcast a lot. We appreciate that. But what was that 300 party celebration like?
Honestly, it was pretty surreal. I mean, I was talking to fans who had flown in from like Boston, Massachusetts, because they were gathering with a group of people that they had met online with the blog, and the weirdest experience that I had at that 300 party was like people were asking me advice on how to break into the industry. I was like, man, I'm just a lowly intern. I don't know what to do.
Did you give them any advice whatsoever?
Yeah. What I kind of said in a quick sum was, focus on what you're passionate about in gaming, and then convey that into writing, and just practice. Even if you have to write for free sometimes, like we may or may not have had to do. Just keep doing whatever you can to get your name out there, and just keep writing. Just keep improving.
Are you guys sick of writing yet?
No.
You can say yes. Your bosses aren't
Some
listening
days.
to this. Okay, some days. News stories, is that what it is, Joey, that brings
Maybe.
you down? Okay, all right. Well, we might get into that here coming up. But Adam Carr has a question that segues into your actual work here.
Yes, sir.
He says, how rough was the process of applying for the job, interviewing, and getting in? Would you consider it rough?
You definitely have to be persistent.
Yeah.
Like I remember talking to these guys like about asking them how often they applied, and I think you guys did like 3 or 4 times.
3 times, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was at 12.
12
times.
What was it about your 12th entry that you feel like really broke through?
I have no idea, actually. I'm pretty sure I had a typo in like the follow-up email I sent to Ben Reeves in that, and rather than just like let it go and just accept defeat, like I corrected it, saying that like, here's my chops as a copy editor. Let me fix my own mistakes.
Smart. Reeves is very used to typos, though. I think he that wouldn't be disqualifying. I think on the basis there. Yeah. So I mean, how did you guys first find out about the internship, and like who to contact? How did you know how the game was played, so to speak?
Well, the first time I applied, I think it was back in, I want to say it was like March 2015.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was curious. I was looking at different websites who were hiring maybe for freelance or maybe for internships, and I saw you guys were, and I didn't make it that time. And then I applied maybe like a year later, and then after that I applied, of course, in like October of 2017, and I found out, what did we find out? Like maybe mid-December 2017?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the first step of applying, if people are interested in the future.
Yes. So basically you have to have a writing resume, I believe at least 3 samples and a cover letter. are
Okay.
the requirements.
Make sure your samples are diverse.
Yes.
Interesting. Good
Yeah.
tip.
Have a news story, have like a feature piece, a review if you've done that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you can Google it. You can find the info, but we usually post like, "Hey, we're looking for new interns on the site and whatnot." And then I think contact is still Ben Reeves. Is he the main contact at this point?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you can figure out all that stuff. But Adam Carr also wants to know, what do you feel has been the most valuable experience in the GI office that can translate over to a future career in gaming or not? Is there any concrete takeaway that you feel like, this will be valuable?
I think one of the best things about the internship was getting to see how the whole staff works with each other. Because especially
Sometimes doesn't work.
Because a lot of times in game journalism, most people are doing freelance work and voluntary work. So you don't have many like established outlets. So being
Right.
able to see how like the editing process works with doing passes on all your pieces and like seeing how like the machine works, you know, like all the cogs in the machine, like with video editing and news and people taking turns in their features and who gets assigned to what cover story. Like Jeff went over like the most recent cover story that he's doing soon. And like the work that goes into that is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool to see that whole process.
That's nice. I like to bring up the cover story thing, which will remain nameless.
Of course.
But like, are there other specific examples from Robbie or John that you saw that was like an interesting cog in the machine? Which is how Andy, I think, likes to describe us, as all little cogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
But was there something where it's like, I didn't expect Game Informer to have this facet within itself, or like this structure of an organization?
Well, I would honestly say it's, we're interns and we're doing, news pieces every day, but you guys edit our work the exact same way that you would edit each other's work. We kind of felt like equals in that regard. And I think that's important because people are going to need to realize that your work is going to be critiqued, whether it's, in the form of like a brutal, your piece is really dry, or you need to change up this sentence. Like, people need to learn to take that criticism. And I think the editors here have done a great job of giving us pointers.
Who's the best at editing features?
Can we say everyone?
No, you legally cannot. You have to choose the absolute best feedback offerer.
Well, that's tough. I mean, we had a lot of good feedback.
Yeah.
Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses.
Uh-huh,
and they're all appreciated, of course.
Okay.
But like, I really loved working with Miller.
There we
with,
go.
Some of his feedback, it was really helpful. But like, everybody was helpful in their own ways.
Yeah, but
Getting
Miller
different-
feels helpful in a long form, soft, gentle. It's like a massage of feedback for 45 minutes. Except he's doing it with his tongue. I don't know what the analogy here is exactly, but something
I think
like
you're
that.
getting different edits.
Oh, really?
Are you even getting your edits at Game Informer?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so feedback, getting critiqued, and all that stuff. So is it a matter of like you send it in a pass and then they send it back with a bunch of red scribbles through it, or what does the actual process look like?
Yeah. So sometimes we'll get a feature back with a bunch of like red linings through it, like maybe explaining, I don't really understand this sentence, maybe make it more clear, or, well, I don't think you added enough to this paragraph, maybe elaborate on what you mean more.
Okay.
So it's advice like that.
Any good concrete writing advice you guys learned throughout the course of the internship, either talking to each other or talking to Game Informer editors about like, here's a concrete, super clear takeaway on a just writing basis alone?
I mean, for me, it's more of like a general tip, I guess, outside of just writing, but not being afraid to ask for help. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely expected like this internship to be a little bit more like competitive, I guess, like because it's a very competitive industry that we're all trying to break into. But they were always helpful with me, like when I was writing and trying to like formulate ideas or structure them in a certain way. And same thing with the people upstairs, that everybody's here to make sure that we're putting out our best work for the site. So not being afraid to ask, for help when you need it is huge.
Yeah, it's good advice. It's not like as you guys leave the office, we have a ranking of like, well, clearly here's the intern winner for this round. It's like, you guys are all working together and trying to improve yourselves. Yeah,
But that is me.
that is true. That is true. Leo has finally been surpassed as the #1 intern, and Robbie is now officially sanctioned, I believe.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Leo.
Any other concrete writing advice? How do apostrophes work? That type of thing.
Oh.
No, I'm just messing with you. But there are other big takeaways of like, I don't know. They're always talking about writing upstairs. Any lessons?
I guess one thing I would maybe say is, write what you would want to read.
Yeah.
Basically just kind of, if I was reading this, how exciting would this be to me?
Mhm.
Just kind of ask yourself that constantly as you're going from paragraph to paragraph, sentence to sentence, headline to headline.
Right.
It's constantly asking what you would be interested in.
It's analogous. I think Pete Holmes on his podcast, The Comedian, at some point was talking about getting feedback early on in his stand-up days. And a professional comedian, I forget who it was, just said, yeah, I guess the question is, looking at your entire stand-up routine, where would you laugh? And it's like, just that easy thing of like, oh, yeah, at what point here would it actually have an impact on you? So just being harsh with yourself in your own writing and trying to figure out what exactly am I going for here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that's good. Emily Jensen has one.
Oh, it's my friend.
Oh, really?
Hey, Emily.
There we go. Emily! Has the experience changed the way you play games?
Not really.
Not necessarily.
I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Okay. Really? Okay, you weren't like, oh, I need to play this game at home because I'm writing a news story related to the sequel or something on the site or anything as drastic as that?
Well, I mean, I would definitely say, we tried to play, the frequent games that have come out, since our internship started, so, we could be a part of conversations. But I mean, as far as like the way we play games, I wouldn't really say so.
Okay. What is the best game you've been exposed to because of the internship that you normally would not have played?
That's a great question.
RBI Baseball 19 or whatever the hell that was, John?
That or out of the park baseball. Played a lot of baseball games since I've been here.
Oh, really? Are you a baseball expert?
Oh yeah. But I think probably for me it'd be A Way Out.
Yeah.
Like cool intern moment. I actually got to help out on the review for that because it's a co-op only game. So obviously you can't do that review on your own. But I don't know if I could have convinced other people to play that necessarily right out of the gate. But I enjoyed what I played, even if I thought it wasn't as. Even if my expectations for it were a little bit greater than the actual experience, but I still had fun.
What was it like playing a game all the way through with Kato? Were you guys sitting in the same room, buddies?
Yep, just sitting side by side.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
What did you learn about Kato from that experience?
Did
he swear a lot?
Not really, surprisingly. I learned he's a very bad driver in games.
Just swerving all over the road during
Pretty
the truck
much.
sequence and stuff? Okay, I can see that. All right. Nobody else
I was
playing
gonna
games?
say Minute.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even get to play it. I just watched Kyle play it on New Gameplay today. I'm like, I never heard of this game. This looks really cool.
Yeah.
So that's one game I'm gonna check out like after the internship and just go through. Yeah.
Right on. That's a good one.
Yeah, for me, actually, you should be able to go up and read the preview on the website right now, but I wrote a preview up for a game called Scum.
Oh,
And it's this open world survival game that keeps track of all sorts of insane things, like almost as if it was an actual body simulator, which is what they're trying to go for. But like, let's say you get in a fight and you lose a tooth, for example. That can affect your ability to eat, which can then make you slowly starve and then like lower your stats like strength and whatnot.
That sounds very annoying.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds... It sounds so crazy. Yeah, it sounds
more annoying than Metal Gear Survive.
Whoa,
that's their marketing.
No
slogan.
way.
But yeah, like just those realistic aspects. I mean, there's been things like that in games before. Like you got to watch your sprint meter to make sure you don't tire out. But this game really seems like it keeps track of your body in ways that other games have not before. And it's one of the few games where I'm like, oh damn, I don't have a gaming PC. Should probably get one of those.
You think there's gonna be diarrhea in the game?
Actually, there is, yeah.
Oh, really? You know
yeah,
that?
like if you eat rotten food, you can get diarrhea.
Pretty cool. It's called Scum?
Called Scum, yeah. It's just SCUM.
Okay,
yeah.
that sounds good. Anthony Argain says, what was the hardest thing you had to do or write during your time as an intern at GI?
Hardest thing to do or write.
I would honestly probably say this last week has been really tough.
Oh, yeah?
Just because I've had 4 features that I've had to wrap up within this past week alone. And, just kind of trying to meet the expectations under that time crunch has been like pretty busy.
Yeah.
But it's been rewarding too, because I'm getting all these features out there that I'm really proud of.
And they're like the biggest features.
Mm-hmm.
Is there one in particular you want to plug or several you want to plug?
Yeah. So another one that I put out, I believe, on Tuesday was it was kind of a history about Gearbox Publishing. And, that's just kind of, they're only like 3 years old at this point, but it's just kind of their backstory about how they got into publishing, where they are now, and, where they're expecting to go.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Gearbox Publishing. They did that
Okay.
one RTS thingy that I never checked out.
Yeah, they did Homeworld
Okay,
Remastered. They also published a follow-up to that called Homeworld Deserts of Karak.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well
and-
reviewed, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think Dan gave it an 8.5 somewhere in there.
Like a Dan's
the original.
8.5 is like a 9.75, I think.
Yeah, and then let's see what else. It was Duke Nukem 3D, Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition.
That's right.
Yeah, and the retail version of Fortnite, and then they are also publishing We Happy Few whenever that comes out.
Wait, they did the retail version of Fortnite?
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah.
I think
This was before the Battle Royale just blew up in popularity.
right before
Yeah.
people looked at Fortnite. I think in some ways, I
Yeah.
heard somewhere. I think it was on another podcast that they aren't even selling that retail version. Do you know if that's true? Do you know like the current state of that version?
Uh,
I know that wasn't in
know.
your piece
I didn't know that
necessarily.
existed.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, yeah. It was definitely a thing. And, I mean, it's been announced as a free to play title for a while, too. Not even the Battle Royale mode, just the game
Right.
in general is free to play. And so, that was one of the things that they talked about was how that was an uphill battle of sorts, trying to convince retailers to stock a game that's,
Yeah.
you can just download for free.
That's interesting though. They have that connection with Epic. They've been working on Unreal forever, and so it's
Yeah.
kind of cool to become the publishing for the retail version of Epic's games. What a weird industry. Have you guys realized that how weird this industry is and how interconnected everything is?
Oh, yeah.
I've seen a man wearing a moon mask. I've seen how weird this industry is. Yeah.
Little Yoko Taro.
Oh boy.
dude.
Joey, can you think of like the hardest thing you had to write?
I think again, this piece isn't published as of the making of this video. But I put together a list of movie properties that Universal Pictures owns.
Oh yeah.
And how they could be adapted into video games. And like that was pretty hard to put together in some cases because like, oh, Insidious. I've never seen the movies. What are they even about? Like,
Yeah.
So trying to figure out like what like that franchise is about, and then like thinking, how do you make this a game? Was a
Right.
really challenging process, and it's a long list too.
I apologize about that because that initially came from when Dan Tack and I went on that Jurassic World event.
Yeah.
We talked
Yeah.
to like the head of games at Universal.
Yeah.
I like ambushed him out and we sat on a picnic table and got a quick interview, which is up on GameInformer.com, and talking about how they want to license out more of their movies
Yeah. They
in the
should.
future. Yeah, they definitely should.
Yeah.
And then they had this weird announcement too where they're like, oh, we have a indie game challenge. If you want to work with Jaws or Back to the Future as a license, survive our gauntlet. Which is like, man, that wasn't really what he discussed with me, but sure, if you want to do that. And
Yeah, I
then
think another general thing I'd point out about like things that were hard about the internship in a good sort of way is multitasking.
Yeah.
Being able to juggle multiple types of stories and assignments at the same time. It's a realistic expectation, in games journalism. So it was nice to have that experience.
Yeah, I think that's a good lesson, and it's always definitely the backdrop behind the scenes of the podcast, right? Is I think podcast listeners, they're all great. And they just imagine like, oh, of course, everyone's going to come down and be on the podcast at all times. But it's like, no, editors are working on 6 other things and trying to line up the schedule and then hopefully get them down here long enough to record a podcast is tricky.
Yeah, believe me, guys, like the Game Informer editors are very busy all
That
the
is
time.
true.
So,
All the time.
Except for like 2 or 3, which you could probably up it up a little
Yeah.
bit. But that's fine. We don't need to call them out.
We won't call them out, Leo.
Favorite thing you wrote, Joey? Something you want to plug here?
I think two of my favorite things that I wrote was a story summary of the whole God of War saga. Like all the games. That was fun to put together because I played through all the games while I was here in Minnesota, and I finished up Ascension last night. And it was okay.
Really?
It was okay.
I was going to ask if like in hindsight it got better or worse. And
It was really rough at first to get used to because like the way they like restructured some mechanics was like, hey, we're innovating, but we're kind of making it worse in the process.
Oh, really?
But over time you kind of get used to it and like you can get into the groove of it, and it's fun. But definitely
how's the
one of weaker
multiplayer?
entries.
Do you play a lot of the multiplayer?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay.
I don't even know if there's people
Oh
playing
yeah,
it.
that is the thing.
The funny thing is, at that studio during the new God of War cover story trip, we asked several people, hey, are the servers still up for God of War's multiplayer for Ascension? No one knew. Everyone we talked to
It's a mystery.
Yeah, everyone in the studio's like, I don't know. Who do we ask
Sounds
about
like
that?
they're just trying to retcon it at this point.
I don't think it's officially retconned. It's just, it's
Yeah.
an odd entry. I think even they knew that like, maybe one too many there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other piece that I mentioned is a list together of churches in video games, like
That's
top 10
cool.
churches. That was a really weird list. But I really enjoyed putting that together because I'd never seen anything like it before.
Yeah.
You know, like on any other websites. So
What's number one, by the way? Not to spoil your awesome
It
list.
wasn't in any particular order. It was
Oh.
just like, you know, a list of like my favorite ones.
Okay,
like
so you
that.
got Eris's Church in Final Fantasy
Yes.
7.
Mhm.
Okay, that's a big one, even though it's kind of missing a roof and it's falling apart.
St. Mark's Basilica and Assassin's Creed 2. Speaking of that game. Yeah.
Ooh, okay,
Yeah.
good. John, what other churches are there? Help me out.
You're asking the wrong intern.
Okay, all right. Let's see. There's,
Oh, Temple of Time was another one. you
Yeah,
had
that
on
was,
there, right?
that was a big
Yeah.
one.
what's
Yeah.
the definition of a church?
It's kind of an amorphous concept, like a religious building. I kind of like waffled back and forth on like you know, whether it should be like religious buildings or churches or temples, something like that. So I just went with like churches as a catch-all term.
Okay, the
Yeah.
catch-all Christian term. Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. John, hardest thing you had to write,
Hardest thing,
even if it's a little news story, that's fine.
Actually, I'd probably say like the hardest day of writing that we had was probably the Nintendo Direct that we had to cover.
Oh, interesting.
Just because like for me, I was not used to that whole like idea of just like pumping out stories and getting into the next one over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And especially with this Direct when there was so much news and games to cover.
Which one was this? What were some of the big announcements?
It was the Smash Brothers one.
Oh, of course. Okay.
So that was obviously a big one. But then the hardest, like the most difficult project I had was probably my brief history of the Battle Royale genre.
Yeah, that's great. And that's up on
That's a
Game
good
Informer now,
piece.
right?
That's up right now.
Mhm. Very good piece.
So like it covered everything from like the 2000 like dystopian movie that came out in Japan all the way through like Player Unknown story and like the development cycle of Fortnite. So that was a lot of research went into that one, but I'm pretty proud of how that turned out.
I'm curious, outside of like what Brendan Green touched specifically in the build up to PUBG, you know, because he was working on the other modes and Arma and stuff, are there good examples that fill the gap between the film coming out and then eventually the Arma mods?
So Arma mods are definitely the most prevalent just because of where they've grown into. Minecraft surprisingly had like a battle royale, was one of the first ones that did that back in 2012.
Was it really?
It was
Yeah,
like-
the Hunger Games, wasn't
yeah,
it?
was
Yeah.
called, initially called the
Yeah.
Hunger Games, but then it was
Oh.
switched to survival games because, you know, copyrights probably.
Sure. And then
Yeah.
officially sanctioned that as well. I remember they like patched it in at some
Mhm.
point, right? Okay. But it was like the fan-based community version of it?
Yep.
That's interesting. You think that's like the unsung battle royale hero is Minecraft?
It could be. I mean, it was easily probably the most popular game that had a battle royale and, you know, probably helped inspire other developers like Brendan Green to make that thing a reality on more realistic terms.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's wild. Robbie, you didn't even plug your cool Avengers Smash video that we did the other day.
What's wrong with you,
didn't ask,
Robbie?
man.
Come on,
Gosh,
man.
come on,
Yeah, that was one of the other 4 features that I had to do this last week was so they came to me with this idea that we should do a list that says like, oh, if the Avengers embodied Super Smash Brothers characters, who would they be?
Very hard hitting.
Yeah, very hard hitting
Expose.
journalism. I had to interrogate Sakurai
Oh my
to get all of
gosh.
his secrets.
Oh, his pretty little face.
Yeah, and then after that, I had this idea to do a video where, you know, it was the 4 of us actually who we ran a simulation with a Ganondorf amiibo because Ganondorf is Thanos on the list.
Of course.
Has to be, yeah. And so we ran a simulation where he fought. Okay, let's see. It was Captain America,
Yep.
Iron Man.
Yep.
Let's see, Hulk, Thor,
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord,
Black
Zelda,
Panther.
and Black Panther. Yeah.
That's right. She was Scarlet Witch. Zelda was Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
So that was it. So he simmed it out and said,
Mhm.
tried to make 7-on-1. Let's see what this fight looks like to try and mirror the movie. You can check out that video. It's on Game Informer site. It's also on our YouTube channel.
Mhm.
That was fun. That is like, look, it's so dorky, and I
Oh yeah.
want to
it's
embrace
fantastic.
how dorky it is. But like that is better than porn. That idea of like matching up Smash Bros. Characters with Marvel characters, like that is so much
Yeah.
fun to be like, okay, who goes with what? Well, kind of this way, kind of this way. I saw one YouTube comment. By the way, YouTube has a lot of corrections of how we did it wrong.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
a lot of them
They're
are like,
very insightful.
yeah, well, some of them were. Like the one that got me is they're like, you idiots, you made Hulk green Little Mac. You should have made him the green Donkey Kong.
I actually have
He was
Drax.
originally
I have
going to
Drax
do-
for Donkey Kong.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
in the
because they're
future.
both really strong, but they're also just kind of goofy
Okay.
in a strange way.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Good stuff.
Yeah.
The real Joey Hates You. Is this your name, Joey?
Why do you hate us, Joey?
Come on, man. Be cool.
Wow,
This person
okay.
wants to know, is there hazing? Does Dan Tack make you level alts on his MMO accounts? Does Yosetti make you watch 14-hour documentaries about Double Fine? Stuff like that.
I don't think Dan Tack would trust us enough. With his accounts.
No, he doesn't trust himself.
So that's a silly question right there.
Okay, so not that much hazing? Is that the lesson?
No, I'd say there's none.
None?
Well, not that we can talk about.
Right. What about like your
Right.
favorite interactions with editors? Myself excluded, I understand. But like, has there been a good personal touching moment you can share?
Well, I don't know.
Going out to eat a couple times with you guys.
Okay.
That's fun.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Like at the very beginning of the term, I had this idea like, oh boy, like we're going to go out and have lunch with all the editors and we're going to get to know them.
That was back when you were Mickey Mouse.
That was back. Yeah.
Everyone's getting it.
Yeah,
Hang on,
and-
John. Do you have a Mickey Mouse impersonation?
No.
You sure?
Come on, John. All right, I get it.
Yeah, but I had that idea, and then I was like, oh yeah, we're getting a little too busy to be doing all this stuff. But for the people we did have lunch with, that was pretty awesome. Just having some kind of one-on-one time. with them. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
I don't know why I just thought of this. This wasn't a touching moment. It was just hilarious.
Yeah.
I was walking up the stairs to the fourth floor,
Uh-huh.
and I see Jeff Cork just walking around the office with this huge box of Chibi Robo?
Chibi Robo,
Amiibos
yeah.
that he got in the mail. I'm like, what? What's going on?
And it's not like a couple. Like Leo in the
No,
booth,
not
how
a
many,
couple.
How many were in that box? You remember?
It was around 40.
Oh my gosh! And we put a fun video with Cork doing some crazy stuff with those Chibi Robos in one of the replay episodes. You remember what episode it was, Leo?
No.
Okay, look through every episode of replay, and there's a fun Chibi Robo thing in there. Hey guys, thank you so much for your service to the Game Informer industry. Thank you for spending your time in the office and coming out to Minnesota. We know we're far away from everybody, but we appreciate your efforts. Anything else you want to plug? Social media accounts, anything like that?
Yeah, I actually do want to mention just one more story that I
please.
did while I was here. So outside of video games, one of the other passions that I have is collecting video games. I know it's probably kind of in the same vein.
Let me demonstrate. Robbie's eerily into collecting. Like he'll come up and talk to us, and then you can
Just
see
a
him
little
just
bit.
you'll see him like eyeing your
Yeah, I'll
desk
be like, hey, well, what's that?
behind you, and then he's like, yeah, is that a homemade mug made out of tape on your desk there, or is that like something I could buy?
I think
or-
I'd get like $20 for it.
That's really the way you frame it. But anyways, okay, so collecting you're into.
Yeah, collecting. I made this very extensive guide about, whether you've been into the collecting game for, 10 plus years, or whether you're just starting out going to the first video game store you've ever had. I give like tips on, just the rights and wrongs in video game collecting.
Okay.
Things like, keep a list of everything you've collected, like maybe who to buy for, who not to buy from. I said for. not
For both.
Yeah.
Though. Okay.
Yeah. And other things like, when you go to a flea market, for example, do not show them that you're excited about something because they will drive up the price unnecessarily.
Have you learned this lesson?
Yes, I have learned. Everything I have on there has been learned firsthand.
Okay, what is
in
the
this
flea
guide.
market example? Did you go in and be
Okay.
like, oh boy, Xbox games?
Yeah,
And
just
then-
like Mickey. Woohoo!
And then they're like, oh, this little weasel. He's
Yeah,
gonna get it.
yeah. This guy, anytime I would look at my phone, he always got suspicious that I was trying to look up like the
Of
price
course,
of things,
of
which I may
course.
or may not have been doing half the
Uh-huh.
time. But yeah, like he would just be like, "You're looking at phone," and I'd be like, "No, I'm just checking Facebook, man.
Uh-huh.
Like, why are you driving hard on me?"
Sure.
Yeah, and so, like, based on that experience, I could tell like he would always raise up the price whenever I was around.
That's fun.
And so I'm just like, when you go into a flea market, just have a poker face.
Right.
Because that's not the case for all people who sell video games at such kind of things, but it's definitely important to do.
All right. And what would
Yeah.
people Google if they want to see this almighty list?
They would Google, the full name of the feature is How to Waste Money Properly, a guide to collecting video games.
That's good. That's very
Yeah.
cute. That's very cute. Twitter account, anything like that?
Yeah, on Twitter, I am Robbie Key V. That's ROBBIEKEY, V as in Victor. I also have an Instagram account with that same name. And then if you just go on YouTube and search Robbie Key, I have an insane face on with a Mario Rabbids hat, and I'm just looking like this.
Insane face. All right, got
Yeah,
it.
insane
Joey.
face.
Dead giveaway.
Yeah, dead giveaway.
Joey, any final plugs here?
You can follow me at Dr. Joey Stein on Twitter.
There we go.
DrJoeYSTEIN.
Uh-huh.
And I have my own personal website where I upload like personal articles and reviews and all the stuff that I'm doing in game journalism.
Yeah.
And I have a YouTube channel as well where I do some lengthy video essays and things like that, and which I'm going to try to pursue more outside of the internship. So yeah, I guess that's like stuff I'd plug.
Yeah, right on, man. John?
I am on Twitter at Mr. Game and Right.
That's a really good Twitter name.
Right.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
What does the future look like for you guys? Do you want to stay around the games journalism field? Did you get a taste of it and you said F this? What's the future hold?
For now I'm going to be trying to apply to different places to do some freelance work, but
Cool.
I'd be lying if I said I did not want an editor's chair here sometime in the future.
Oh, I see. You just take Leo's.
Yeah.
It's basically an editor.
I mean, I have overtaken him as the best editor.
That's
I guess I'm
right.
qualified.
It's all right there.
Or best intern, excuse me.
Congratulations.
Joey, do you want to stay in the industry?
I'm going to pursue freelance work part-time and
Cool.
see how that pans out.
Yeah.
But like, I'm going to try to pursue like something else in writing full-time. I have no idea what. Maybe it could be teaching, doing PR, social media, things like that.
Cool.
I'm open to a lot of things, but if I can ever get like a position like on a staff like with any game journalism outlet out there, especially Game Informer,
Oh, yeah.
that'd be great. So we'll just see
Right
what
on.
the future holds.
John, tell me your exact future forever.
Let me get my crystal ball real
Okay,
quick.
all right. He's got it for audio listeners. He's holding it. He's rubbing it aggressively.
Definitely interested in video game journalism still, but one of the things I'm taking away from this internship and the experience as a whole is just knowing that there's so many avenues to pursue in terms of being in
Yeah.
the video game industry.
Yeah.
I got to do an interview with streamer Professor Bowman talking about the upcoming Guardian Con that's happening. It's a charity event that he helps organize. So that like doing something involved like where doing games for good in the world like really clicked with me, like talking with him. So that could be something I pursue too. But like these guys, I'm also going to be pursuing the freelancing world. So
Yeah, right on. Robbie, John, Joey, thank you for your service. Excellent work. Round of applause for you guys there. Well done. Well done.
we did it.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
having us.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. And thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode of the Game Informer Show podcast. Tune in next Thursday and we'll have another new episode waiting for you. Bye, everybody. Bye.
See ya.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.